Elaine, can you do roll call?
Trustee Barheit.
Here.
Trustee Young is excused tonight. Trustee Hopkins.
Here.
Trustee Gant.
Here.
Trustee Speeding.
Here.
Trustee Faber is excused tonight, and President Bucher.
Here. So at this time, I just want to take a few minutes to acknowledge the day, September 11th, 22 years ago. It's a very somber day. There were a lot of lives lost, and it's been a profound difference in our country ever since. So if everybody can just take a minute to reflect on that. Okay. Anyone else have anything to say on that? Bill? No? Okay. All right, did we meet open meeting compliance check?
We have.
Do I have approval of the agenda sequence? Any changes?
No.
No? Great. Okay, with that, we're going to move into public comments for agenda items. So I am going to call up Laura Berger, if you can come forward and state your name and address for the record.
I think she's here for,
Oh, you're here for number 2?
no.
Oh,
She's here for the operator.
oh, you have number 2. Got it. All right, go ahead. That's okay. Go ahead.
You don't want to know, though.
We don't?
No, she's on the agenda for reconsideration of an operator license.
Okay, I apologize.
Sit down.
Please sit down. Kelly Hackle, please. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Kelly Eckel. I live at 9427 67th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Into number 5. I am just concerned. I want to know if this is going to apply to everybody or if it's just something that's being done for the fair development, since there are many other people who had issues with the township before, by some of the rules, including the one that I believe they're asking to change. And my husband and I have gone through, as most of you up there know, a great deal of angst due to the village, not all of you, but due to the village. So much so that actually last night I had a nightmare, and guess who was in it? Brad. I never had a dream about Brad before. So I just want to say that, you know, what's here for people who have a lot of money is here with the rest of us, and I'd like to do it equally as I am sure some of the other folks that I know that came before this board before would like to. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Okay, Mr. Langle, I know that you have a non-agenda, but how about Arlene? Are you also non-agenda?
Just side business. Oh, sorry, first.
Is what? Oh, you do not want to speak? You do not want to speak tonight?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna cross you off. All right. Gabe, is it Iucci? I don't even know how to. Iucci, thank you. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Gabe Iucci, 703 Hill Avenue, Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. Good evening. My name is Gabe Iucci. This is in regards to number 6, Lake Shangri-La House POA. It's where I was raised, and I have deep roots there. And we had concerns about the parks and some of the mistreatment going on. My family and I spend a lot of time of ours down there, and we no longer feel a sense of community when we visit, and in my opinion, it's become somewhat of a toxic environment abroad. Community is somewhere where everyone feels comfortable with their surroundings and should have respect for one another. And earlier this past week, I was told that I was not allowed here to come and speak publicly. So thank you for the opportunity. I was told by the LSPOA board member that I was not allowed to come here and speak to you. So I appreciate the opportunity. One other thing, I just want to thank you for any help that you can bring to our community. I mean, greatly appreciate anything that you can offer to help as far as resources and making it a better place. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Marcos, if you could come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Marcus Carath. I live at 25018 113th and Trieber. I've kind of long been concerned about the ATV ordinances that are coming into play. It plays into a lot of things. On one item, I've been a motorcyclist and an ATV rider, et cetera. Well, I like to still engaged in all those activities. I've been in many communities in northern Wisconsin, and I've seen what happens with these ATV ordinances. There's a level of recklessness, a level of noise. On the local profile of this, we've had significantly increased traffic in this area. I've lived here for 22 years now. And with the increase in traffic, the amount of houses that are being built and all of those things, I think permitting ATVs on streets is just a recipe for accidents, incidents, and problems. I'd like to see what the board can do to address those things and how they're intending to control those things. I'd also be interested in what's driving the desire to have an ATV ordinance. There are no local ATV trails. I moved the trailer up the Black River Falls out to Monroe, Wisconsin. I've done all of those things. I've also ridden locally through northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin illegally when I was a kid. And it's a destructive type of environment. You know, these ATVs really can tear up private property and other property. And how do we stop that? There's no trails anybody's going to. They're just going to ride around other roads. So I appreciate your consideration on those matters.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else who did not sign up that would like to speak?
There's three.
Oh, I'm gonna save you for, yeah. Okay,
There's the gentleman over in the far side.
where?
Blue shirt in the back. That left.
Oh. Can you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Joe Bozio. I'm at 838 214.
Hey, Joe, I have you on the agenda, so
Oh, sorry.
we will wait for that. I didn't know that was you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So with that, we're gonna start our, I'm gonna talk about a few things here. I want everyone to know that the Sharing Center is having their 40th anniversary this Thursday. So if you would like to get tickets and you have not, please go to their website. They have a link. It's at the Wilmot Stage Stop. I also would like to remind the trustees here today that I've been working on assignment or creating some different boards and commissions for trustees to help in various areas of the village. And I'm hoping to have that completed by November. And then I kind of wanted to do a non-official poll by a show of hands. Would it be helpful to anyone here if the village were open 2 days a week until 6:30 at night Would that be helpful to anybody, do you think? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Okay, all right. And then, if you would like to be on our email notification list, please get in touch with our clerk Eileen. And that's all I've got. So we'll go into the agenda for presentations, petitions, communications, and other agency reports. Number 1, 2024 purchase of service funding application request from Twin Lakes Area Senior Citizen Club in the amount of $4,000. And Pat, if you would like to come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Pat Maroka. I am president of the Twin Lakes Senior Club in Twin Lakes. I've been president for 8 years. I enjoy everything that we do. Our club started 53 years ago. So this year is our 53rd year of having this club. We've had many, enrollments that run up and down, over the years that we have seniors. Right now, we're up to 124 members. And at this time, if it's possible, I'd like to give you all an example of what we do. So on the top sheet, you're going to see, this is all the different communities and the amount of people from those communities. And if you look at the top, Salem Lakes, we have 36 people from here. And in Twin Lakes right now, we have 34. But it doesn't matter because we have people not only everywhere from Lake Geneva to Kenosha to Wisconsin to Illinois, as far as Crystal Lake. We have people from all over that have joined our club. They hear about us from somebody, they call, and I don't have enough for you guys. I have one. I don't know if you guys, somebody wants to look at it. Thank you. So, like I said, the majority of our members right now are from the Salem Lakes area. And again, that always fluctuates. People pass away, the top, it goes up and it goes down. Let's see, we do receive $3,500 a year from Twin Lakes. And they don't question us as to what we use that money for. I realize this is a grant, it's different. We use their money for, we go on a trip. If you look, that's our activity sheet for the whole year. We go on trips every month. We have meetings twice a month. At our meetings, we always have between 60 and 70 people. That's every 2 weeks. So I really think we're doing something right if you have that amount of people coming. We do go on a bus trip generally once a month. Sometimes it gets pretty hard with payments for things, thanking Twin Lakes for the money they give us. It helps towards our buses where we can keep the cost down for the seniors, which in my opinion is really important because a lot of them live months and months on their Social Security. So in saying that, I know we requested like $4,000, but I'd be happy with 35, which is what Twin Lakes is giving us. A lot of, I do realize this is a grant. And one of the main things that I would use this money for is our rent. Our rent is $1,500 a year. They have not raised it yet this year for us. So possibly next year they might do that. We also have some really old coffee pots. We use 3 of them. After so many years, they're starting to really show their wear and their age that we would like to replace them. We have drink serving containers that again are getting older that we would like to replace them. We also have a printer that my husband keeps fixing
that we would like to replace a printer, because believe it or not, I don't go to one of those printing places, but I'm printing off stuff all the time. I mean, I print off, 150 of these sheets and everything, so I would really like to buy a new printer. And then whatever is left over, other things that come up that need repair and need taken care of, I'd appreciate that, but, I really appreciate it. I came up here a couple of years ago and we did get, a grant, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm hoping again that we get a grant. Any questions?
No,
Well, thank you for your time.
thank you. Yeah.
So with that being said,
Yes.
what I would like to see us as a board do tonight, they're asking for 4,000. Their rent is 1,500. I would like to propose that we move the Twin Lakes Senior Citizen Center to the Village Silver Lake Rescue Squad building and charge them $12 a year and subtract that 1,500 that they would typically have paid from the 4,000, giving them $2,500 and the use of the facility for $12 a year. Does that make sense?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, this club started in Twin Lakes.
Mhm.
And it's always been in Twin Lakes, and it's been part of that community for 53 years. And I would rather not see it move. And maybe that's a mistake on my part, but I think that the people there know us so well that I really hate to move it. For 20 years. We've been in the same place now, probably for 20 years. And we have everything that we need. We have our own little 8x10 room that we can keep all our supplies in with a lock and a key. We have everything in there. And, again, we have been told Twin Lakes just recently, had built a community center to use, but they would charge us. And then we had to put up the tables and take them out. All the tables and chairs had to be put up, had to be taken down every time. They did not have a storage thing. We have to bring everything in, bring everything out, and that's not feasible for me.
Okay. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
being how we don't know how our funding is going to be this year, because all the extra costs, well, I would recommend that we maintain status quo what we did last year. And we'll figure out more things next year if we need to, because we have a lot of added expenses this year.
Mhm.
And I don't know where we're going to fall in all of this.
I don't think we gave Twin Lakes anything last year, did we?
No,
1,000?
2 years ago.
2 years
2
ago?
years ago? Well,
Yeah.
Whatever I see here.
It was from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any other thoughts on that?
And how much did we give you 2 years ago?
2,000, I believe. Was it 25? Maybe 2,500.
It says a $2,000 grant.
Okay, 2,000, and that would be it.
If you guys still want to do it.
Well, you have to make a motion though.
I would make a motion that we provide the Twin Lakes Senior Citizen Center the same as what we did 2 years ago, which is $2,000.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
So Hopkins and Gant.
I would like you to think twice too about that concept of moving, because you would be the only ones in that facility. You would have storage to lock your stuff up. And it's $1,500 versus $12 a year.
We would continue it as the Twin Lakes seniors.
You can call it whatever you want, my dear.
Maybe I want to take a look at it. Does it have kitchen facilities in there?
It's got kitchen facilities.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, we can arrange for you to take a walk through,
I would like that.
and then maybe next year, think about it and come back to us. How's that?
Okay, that's.
So you got a motion on the floor.
I do, and I have a second, so we'll do a vote. Kelly,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion
We
carries.
still have a poll.
$1,000.
I should get one.
Sure. Does he have?
Put a poll up.
All right.
What are you doing?
They're training dancing grannies.
Okay, we're gonna go on to item number 2024, purchase of service funding application request from Westosha Senior Community Center in the amount of $8,000. Is there anyone from the facility?
There is.
Okay, can you state your name and address for the record?
My home address or the address of the senior center?
Whichever you want to give.
My name is Sandy Jacoby. The address of the senior center is 19200 93rd Street, Bristol. Primarily, I would like to make myself available to answer any kind of questions that you guys might have. Some of you I've known from prior years, some of you are very new for me. And so I'd be delighted to answer any kind of questions that you might have about our proposal. I do think it a very worthy cause. The fact that of our membership is not required, it is $12 a year, per year. And we do have small fees for all our classes, everything from Tai Chi to ceramics with the kiln on site. Fees ranging between $1 and $3 for senior citizens. All those things considered, of our 254 members at the time I wrote the proposal, I think there's 266 now. But of those 254, 111 had addresses that are commensurate with Salem Lakes as their home community. And so as a purchase of services, to be very, very honest, I think that we are just a wonderful thing to have available to seniors. We partner with the Kenosha Aging and Disability Resource Center for Kenosha County, and they provide about 49% of our budget needs. But of course, that still leaves us with well over $50,000 to raise every single year. And when we come for assistance, and I will say Salem Lakes has been a blessing, but when we come for assistance, it certainly is always for what we consider very valuable, essential kinds of needs that the center has. Everything from air conditioning units in the past to energy recovery ventilation systems in order to hold down flu and pneumonia, those kinds of viruses, which was funded through funds here very wonderfully. In addition to that, they've last year's funds were provided for 50% of our building to receive LED lighting, which again is kind of a basic need for the senior center. Not only for the fact that it provides better lighting for seniors, much brighter, sometimes like 5 times as bright, but in addition to that, it is a tremendous savings of energy by 80%. And so that would assist us financially, even on our energy bills, as well as the fact that it would provide a better lighting environment for seniors. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me regarding the proposal?
Can I have you spell your last name?
Sure. Jacoby.
Thank you.
And my personal address is Salem, as a matter of fact.
I do not have any questions.
No.
I'm hoping that my proposal was explicit for you guys. Obviously, something like 80% longevity of the bulbs is a really important cause. We have not started the installation with our award last year because we had an auto accident. A senior drove through the building, and some of you've been noticing as you drive up and down Highway C, we've had lots of construction going on. And our insurance is covering that for us. But obviously, this happened December 13th. We are probably in our final month of that repair. And so we will begin working with the LED lighting right after that in terms of the west half of the building. And we are hopeful that this group will see it important
to facilitate educational, financial, health, those kinds of services for seniors of Salem Lakes in particular. So we're hopeful of that, with, you know, that percentage of the population being probably over the age of 65, like well over 1,900 seniors.
So the gardens that you have, do you sell your vegetables?
We do, but we sell them extremely reasonably. All you have to do is stop. And you'll also notice that in addition to selling them, we work with the Kenosha County Action Council and with the state of Wisconsin to serve WIC families and to also serve those who would have veggie vouchers, $35 per individual who qualifies income-wise. And so therefore the senior can come to the center and enjoy our senior dining services at a price of $3 for lunch, which includes a half dozen choices of drink in addition to the fact that it's a wonderful, well-balanced meal at $3. You can't buy the drink for $3.
No.
Okay, it's a federal program, of course, partnering with CAFASI. And, you know, so in it, a person can come there, have lunch, do an activity in the afternoon. For example, today we had Fabric as Art as a class this afternoon. This morning we had chair exercise. You could go on either end or both, do both with lunch in the middle. And then, by the way, you can stop and pick up your vegetables on the way home. And those vegetables have been harvested within one day, you guys. And so our goal, I'll be honest with you, our garden, we've not made a penny. Not a penny. In fact, we've lost money every year. And it's because we choose to make the goal about caring for seniors, about caring for families. Because many of our seniors are an integral part of their families, of rearing their grandchildren and being a part of the finances of the family as a larger, broader family.
Right.
So that's really our goal.
Okay.
Stop, you'll find that we're very accommodating.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So in staying with trustee Barheit's concept or thought, I would make a motion to award $7,500 to the West Osha Senior Citizens Center, which is the same amount we gave you last year.
It is.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
So Hopkins and Grant. Billy,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Ron?
Yep.
I'm a yes. Motion carries.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For your confidence in our mission.
Great.
We
Thank
will
you.
continue working very hard.
Thank you.
Keep them cars out of that building open.
You know, that guy happened to hit a sweet spot. He hit the gas instead of the accelerator instead of the brake by chance. Hit the sweet spot. We had to have 2 entire walls removed. And we had to have a special fire department in from South Shore, with special training, special materials in order to reinforce the roof so that we didn't lose the roof at the same time. So it's been an adventure. It really has been. You know what? We're going to do our very best to keep those cars out of that building. I
Thank
promise.
you. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to number 3, 2024 purchase of service funding application request from the Sharing Center in the amount of $18,000. Sharon, if you can come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sharon Hollowell. I'm the Executive Director of the Sharing Center. The address there is 25700 Wilmot Road in Trevor. I live at 8312 257 in Salem. Last month I was here and gave you a presentation on the Sharing Center and what we do and services that we do provide to Village of Salem Lakes residents. I know we've had that in our purchase of service request and the funding that we actually invest back into this community and have to fundraise every year in order to provide those services. I can tell you since the start of the year, our numbers have increased every single month. We are breaking records on almost every level. Today, we saw more than 100 people through the door in about an hour, which is a lot of work because everybody coming through our doors are in crisis. At one point, I had every single one of my staff and trained volunteers as advocates in a different area of our building, trying to get privacy because we had so many people coming through the doors with severe mental health crises, domestic violence issues. It's just a nonstop cycle these days of people in serious crisis. We do utilize every single other provider in Kenosha County who is contracted to do those services, but it's just never enough. So that's why we try to fill those gaps and do what we can on our end. So I really do ask you for the 1700 Salem Lakes residents that we provide crisis services to every single day, where no frills and everything else, and implore you not to decrease funding to us, and at some point to even consider additional, because it is very expensive and it's not slowing down. We need your help and support.
Okay, thank you.
This one is kind of different than the other two because it's not centered around senior citizens. It's more focused on the needy, whether it's a senior, whether it's a homeless, whether it's a family in need. So I would make the motion to award the $18,000 to the Sharing Center for 2024.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Kelly?
Can I ask a question
Oh, sure.
from the sharing center? I'm new to, understanding your facility. I remember I was over there and took a tour, and you mentioned that you serve a lot of Kenosha County, Racine. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
More than 90% of the people we serve lives in west of I-94.
West of
We also
I-94.
have people talking over the border from Antioch. We serve them one time, we find them their services closest to them. Same for Walworth County, same for Racine County, same for the city of Kenosha. We make sure they get their crisis needs met one time, and we connect them to the services that are closest to where they live.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so Kelly? Yes. Ron?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Billy?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries 5-0. Number 4, resolution 2023.09-89, a resolution requesting exemption from Kenosha County library tax for 2024 budget for the village of Salem Lakes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Hampton Hopkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, number 5, discussion by Bear Development regarding a possible amendment to Article 33, Section 490.33.8, sub B, sub 82.
Good evening, SR Mills, 4011 80th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Appreciate the time and the consideration. I'm here tonight to discuss the impetus with it's a property that we own just south of Silver Lake, north of F. It's a 6.5 acre parcel. It's been a pretty bad bean field for a long time, and it's sat in that state since we've owned it for going on 20 years now. It's owned multifamily. It's been very tough to figure out anything that would actually work there. It's just west of the marina, south of Silvercrest Apartments. So in looking at some of the different options that are out there, we started to dig into self-storage as a potential good option with the marina and the boat storage just to the east, but it could make some sense and fit in there with the neighborhood. In doing that and in digging into it, we looking at the ordinance, realized the ordinance mandates that it's classifies it as hazardous, dangerous, or detriment to the community, which then triggers a conditional use permit. That CUP then essentially it mandates that it's a 100% masonry structure. And so not here tonight to really talk about the merits of our particular development or not. But one of the things that we realize is it's going to be pretty cost prohibitive for us to proceed if they're 100% masonry structures, so all brick or decorative block. It's about somewhere between 37 and 45% more costly to do it that way. We're all for looking great and making sure that the village has control for what the end product looks like, so there's consistency. Also sensitive that there have been others before us in the process, and nobody likes to have a changing rule book, but just the same, thought it would be worthy of a discussion to see if that's something that the village would entertain. If you have questions on the site-specific impacts, happy to go into those, but committed to making sure it's a class act, great looking development that everybody can be proud of. At the same point, trying to make sure it's cost effective so we can actually afford to proceed with it.
On your plans here, how many units are we talking about?
We have it broken up into 2 phases.
Because I see 5 buildings, but it doesn't indicate how many storage units per building.
Yeah, hold on, grab. I got one more sheet. So again, this is just preliminary as we're kind of kicking it around. Looks like we've got about 135 in the first phase and comparable in the second. Thought being, we've done a market study, and the market study shows that there is ample ability in the area. We think it can make some sense. You would need to be pretty specific with the sizes, and we're still honing in on that. Nothing's finalized at this point. But what we do know is just it's cost prohibitive for us on this particular site to proceed if it is going to be 100% masonry. So we would look to get back with you guys with all the specific details, site-specific details when, if we can get over this hurdle that you all think it's worthy.
So what are you proposing? A metal building then? All
Yeah,
metal?
Big metal, and then we'll look for masonry. Anything facing the road would be masonry. We'd have a decorative fence around it. It would be, I think with berming and landscaping that it could fit pretty good. We actually own the apartment complex just to the north. We've got tree line and boat storage arena to the east. We've got some trees to the west. So we think if we had that south face look classy and well lit, but lights that aren't going into neighbors, that it would still feel very good and give a great look and feel.
We've had other storage units go up that have been masonry. And they put up quite a few units. I guess I don't understand where you say it's not financially feasible, yet these other storage units have in fact gone up. So.
Yeah, and I think, there can be different things for different sites too. So from our standpoint, this site isn't on Main and Main. It's a little off. We think it's going to have some pretty specific users, whether they're marina or, we don't see it as a real, I think it's going to look great. We plan on spending a lot of money to make it look great, but, I don't anticipate the same kind of rents and occupancy if it was on Highway 50. I think, the thought would be that would likely be a little higher just given its location. And so these are just the economics as the way we've laid them out. Unfortunately, too, this marketplace with interest rates going up 300 basis points and construction costs aren't helping us. It is tougher to get deals done and add more.
Well, I know we have one in the process right now that's all masonry, and there are other villages around that also have the masonry, ordinance set. So I'd hate to see this. We already have a guy that has to build masonry, and we can't turn around and say, well, this guy, it's okay. So.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion.
We're
I mean,
in a very residential area.
Yeah, I agree.
Kelly, how far are you guys on yours? Do you know?
How far are we?
Mhm.
Well, all of the things you talked about in relative to cost have affected us because it's taken so long.
Mhm.
So the interest rate is the same as what you would get at this point. And my question to you is, because we're building smaller units, you're talking about boat units, those things bring in quite a bit of money.
Yeah, a lot of
So
money.
I'm not understanding how you won't be able to afford to build them the way. I mean, I understand it costs, I don't see it as cost prohibitive for you. I see it more as, it costs more and you don't really want to spend more.
And and I'm not, your economics, and I'm not debating that at all. I think from our standpoint, I can tell you that if we have that, and probably test it, it's about 40% more to do 100% masonry. For us on that site, it is just cost prohibitive, and it's okay if the answer is we don't want to, we want to keep them all 100% masonry. Again, we just thought it was worthy of coming here tonight to ask the question and have the dialogue. And I'm very sensitive to that position of the rules that change. So I completely get that. But for us on this site, it's just our economic reality is we can't move it forward. Do it the way it is, but that's
Why do you say for you on this side? What's that mean on this side?
It's about a 6% yield if we have to do it as it is, and that 6% yield just doesn't make economic sense to take the risk and go through the lease up and to do that. We've owned the site for a long time. And that's okay. But again, just wanted to have the dialogue as to, is it something that, it would be of interest to discuss at board level.
Mhm.
And again, and not detracting from anything you guys are doing at all, very sensitive to that. And I understand having a rule book that doesn't change, but still wanted to have the discussion because it's, a few $1 million in tax base, which is always good. Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the R4. I mean, it's residential. That area, and we pay planners to figure those things or do a planning. So I'm still,
Brad, what does the CMP call for that tract of land?
I believe the 2050 plan that we're working on does stay at residential, but it is designated as possible.
For commercial? What, what level commercial?
B3 or B5. I think a number of years ago, we looked at a townhome, side-by-side townhome complex there. It's probably 60 to 70 units in total on that 6 acres, which is probably 8 units, maybe it's a little less than that, but it's 8 units per acre density.
I do agree that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do agree. I think we should look at the definition of how we classify mini warehouses, but changing it to other than masonry, I don't think it's a good idea at this point, seeing as how we do have one business already going up. We have others that have done the same type of construction. And I just don't think that's at this point fair for them as well. So, but I do like the fact that you brought it to our attention because I don't know how a mini warehouse can be considered hazardous, dangerous, or harmful.
Chemicals inside.
Well, but I mean, is that the reason why we classify it like that?
The new, we want more control.
Of what goes in there? Yeah. But is that a result of what happened over there at the buildings on Highway C before they burned or?
No, it's only that.
Okay,
It's copied from the county. So the county's out there.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
So.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Surrounded by residentials, except for one side.
I just don't think it's right for the village the way it is right now.
Okay, is that everybody else's consensus?
Same as Bill.
Same, Kelly?
I'm for keeping it R4.
So you're not in agreement with this, is what you're saying?
Or table it and do a little more investigating. I mean, there's a public hearing if it's regarding a zoning change, isn't it? Get the feedback.
Well, the
from
zoning and that, yeah, that's.
I don't think the zoning is what we're talking about. It's how we build right now. The question is how we build mini storage units. Do we allow them to use other than masonry construction? And I think at this stage, the way we're at, I don't want to change that right now.
Then I agree.
And that's fine from our perspective too. We just wanted to have are better than.
I'd like to have more conversations with you because we have other parcels that definitely warrant some form of development.
No, we look forward to having more discussion from that a little while ago and want to do more in the village. And, there's some remnant parcels that we have that I think could be developed. I think there's some out there.
Oh, yeah.
Could be some good possibilities. So part of the reason I wanted to come tonight was just say hello and understanding that this issue is what it is and don't want to cause any heartache to somebody that was in the queue before us.
Yeah, and I do hope you come back because it's an open door for Bear Realty.
And again, appreciate the dialogue.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, number 6, presentation by Joe Koziel of Lake Shangri-La Property Owners Association. Joe, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Joe Ozio. The community center is at 22112 121st Street in Bristol. And I live at 38 214th Street in Bristol as well. So first of all, I want to say thank you very much for having us here. I talked to a couple of you and we appreciate the time to come and talk with the board. I'm joined here by you, my compatriots on the board at Lake Shangri-La Property Association. I'm the president there. I was interim president for about 4 months and just recently elected for a 3-year term. So just beginning my journey as the president there. So I have about 30 some odd slides that I want to go over in this presentation. Just kidding, you go ahead. So from an introduction perspective.
I hope you're kidding.
Yeah, no, I am kidding. So I just want to say thanks in advance. Secondly, I just want to talk about why we're here. And I think I've had a conversation with a couple of you. We have a new board. We basically turned over literally the entire board has turned over the last 3 years. And there were certainly relationships from the old board with the board here. And so we're trying to build a relationship with you to try and, understand how we can work together and how we can collaborate moving forward. So I see this as really as an introduction to each other. And so that's great. I also wanted to talk about, who we are, right? So our bylaws, the purpose is to protect and preserve the interests of all the members and the community as a whole. And I think it's really important for us to talk about the community as a whole, because we are, and Dave, sorry, but we'll have to talk later. I apologize for what may have happened in the communication we had, but certainly our intent is to be a very inclusive, transparent board where we gather as much information as we can. So that's a really, really important piece for us. Secondly, what's our mission? The board's mission is basically to uphold that purpose. And so we're working, and it's all volunteer boards, and we're working very hard to make sure that we uphold that. Let's go to the next slide. So here's what we do. There's really 6 main pillars that we focus on. The very first one is it's a voluntary paid for membership. We currently have about 200 members. There's about 400 homes in the Lake Shangri-La, on the lake and around the lake. So we have about 50% of the people in town actually out of their own pocket give us that. That's really our main source of revenue. That's basically where all a big chunk of revenue comes from. We're a not-for-profit organization, so we manage to a zero budget. We're really happy and proud of the fact that we have 200 members. We've been working really hard on that the last few years. John Costanza, our membership chair, we've taken it from about 150 up to 200 over the last 3 years. So we're heading in the right direction. So that's really good from my perspective. Lake management is that's our biggest cost item. And so from a lake management perspective, we're responsible for weed abatement, fish stocking, and then basically checking on the clarity of the water to make sure that the water is good. I think it's really important to understand that from a weed abatement perspective, right? Because you know how Lake Shangri-La is divided right in two between Salem Lakes and Bristol. And then there's also Bennett Lake. So this association has been around in the 50s. And we've actually looked at historical minutes, and these types of conversations were coming up even back in the 50s about weed abatement. So this has been something that's been managed and controlled for years, and we'll continue to do that. And the biggest challenge with us right now with weed abatement is the cost associated with it, right? I mean, it's, as you imagine, commodities and the weed killer, which is safe for the lake, make sure it's very safe for the lake, is continuing to go up. So we try to manage that to the best of our ability as well. We stock the lake about every 2 to 3 years. Work very closely with the DNR. The model was out last summer and was extremely happy with the way the lake looked and what we're doing and keeping it. That's our number one asset, and everybody in the community kind of gathers around and comes around that. So that's really good. Next thing is the community center. We have a community center. We manage that. We maintain that. operations, right? We need to make sure that place is, we rent, that's another source of income. So we need to make sure that we're continuing to keep that place up to date, making sure that we just put a new roof on, we're about to put new siding on, new doors. We're gonna give a facelift. So what we're trying to do is make it a very welcoming place for people to come and spend time. I think we had probably around 20-25 rentals throughout the course of the year, this past year. The next thing is events. So we're one other way and a main way that we drive revenue is through events. I think Ron, you met the other day. You've been at the ice derby, the ice fishing derby has been around forever. That's our number one revenue generating event. Then we've had a couple other. We had a music fest this year at the community center, which generated some money. We have a golf outing, a shotgun golf outing, which has generated some money. So we have bags leagues. So we try to involve the community. And again, I want to make really clear that this is a totally all-inclusive kind of type thing. We're not trying to, this isn't, it's our little corner of the world. There's people that are coming from different parts of Salem Lakes, coming from Bristol, renting piers and things of that nature. The next one is, monetary management. So we really need to, our charter is a lot smaller than what obviously what you guys are dealing with, but we're a subset of what you're doing. And so our budgets are not that large. And so we need to make sure that we manage the money very tightly. We stood up an audit committee this year to make sure that that's handled on an appropriate basis. And we'll continue to do that. And then the last one is peer management. So we have 22 peers that actually sits on the parks that we lease from Salem Lakes. And Ron was out last week. We had a conversation about that. And I think it's really showing the types of collaboration that we can have and that we can work together on what we want to do and what we're going to do in the future. And I think it was brought up at the Parks Commission at their meeting. And I know it's probably going to be a topic down the road, but it's something that we just want to make sure that we're, involved there with you guys. And we make sure that the community as a whole is very clear about what's going on there.
Okay, great.
So that's all we have.
Great, thanks.
Thank
I got some questions.
Yeah, before we do that, could I bring up Christine? She's got some comments as well. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Christine, I can see 22219 118th Street in Bristol.
Go ahead.
Okay. I've lived in Lake Shangri-La all my life. My grandfather was the first, or maybe the second person in Lake Shangri-La that came out camping from Chicago. Eventually built a little home there. He was the one selling the property lots for Mr. Stevens coming up. People coming up mostly from Chicago, spending the weekends. It usually was little shacks or cabins.
My grandparents built there in 1988.
We now have very large homes there. And I just want to say that, we've seen a lot of changes through the years. There's a lot more population now in our community. And 200 homes out of the 400, I got to ask why there's only half, joining in on this. It does sometimes seem a little unwelcoming when you go up there, but it does represent a small percentage of people, in my opinion, that look like up here. You just stated people from Haddock Lake can join the membership and have a peer. Is that what I just heard?
So there are a couple instances of people that do not live in the community that have rented peers in the past. There's a gentleman in Kenosha. I'd say that's probably the only one. Our peer person is not here today, but she would have that. There's one.
No, I've seen, I think it's G run.
Yeah,
He runs it.
yeah.
So it looked like there was about 11 people on the list, I think, waiting for peers.
Correct.
And I've heard of people waiting over 20 years to, promise to peer. If you join the membership, we'll put you on the list. For $200, you can get a peer slip. Maybe before, but not anymore.
Well, the way we run that is, I think, a little bit different than I think you guys run it. There's a lottery. I think in some of the peers that you guys manage, from my understanding, the way it's been run, as far back as I know, is if you get a peer And most of the pier owners are. That there's a lot of senior citizens that live in the area that have a pier and they've had it for years. And so, yes, if you are a member and you have leased a pier from us and you want to do it year after year, you live in the community, that's what we do. And then people come off the list. I'm not sure what the turnover is every year, but it's certainly a couple of people every year that kind of move. I'd have to get, stats on that because I'm not exactly sure what that number is.
There's no way of knowing because the list that is people waiting for peer initials only. And I guess we inquired about, who are these people that are waiting for peers?
I'm going to interject just a little bit just to keep time. Can you just, like that part you can,
Yes.
do, but can you just get to what we, so
So
we can get going on this?
with Village of Salem Lakes taking over the parks because the lease is coming due. Our family's feeling is we would welcome a launch. We would welcome a clean, safe place for our kids to play. The shoreline is horribly eroded on both parks. And just taking down my grandkids to the beach, I'm on the safety patrol to keep them, from catching their foot in a rut. To give them back to their parents with a broken leg. It's very disturbing how it looks. The playground equipment's over 20-some years old. I know there's improvements coming with special needs equipment coming, so we would welcome that as well. But we'd like to see a park for everyone to enjoy, not just the select few who are awarded a park, a pier slot for their lifetime if they keep paying the membership due and the pier fee.
Got it.
It's
Okay.
just not open to the.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I'd like to table all of this for another meeting.
You would?
That's what-
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to table this whole issue on the Lake Shangri-La lease and whatnot, so that we can have Doug Randolph from the parks to be a part of it. Part of this discussion, I guess, because I too went out there. The equipment is outdated. Then I have questions, and I have questions about the piers as well. So.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, number 7, Rock Lake Highlands Association request for barricades and picnic tables for an event on September 23rd, 2023. Is there anyone from the Rock Lake Highlands here? No?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for barricades, picnic tables. I don't know where they come from. That,
Barricades I had before when the lease was going on.
yeah, but no picnic tables. Yeah. I would approve the use of barricades for their September 23rd event.
Hopkins and Gant. Kelly,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Ron,
Yep.
I'm a yes. Eileen, can you please let Cindy know that she still will need to get to notify the sheriff and give us the exact areas that are going to be blocked off? Okay, thank you. Number 8, discussion on ATV UTV draft ordinance.
Well, as you all know, we had a referendum on this, went about 60% for it, 40 against it. We had a small committee put together. We drafted a new ordinance, and it's basically along the line of the DNR rules and regulations, as well as any state regulations. We took like 3 or 4 different ones and we combined them all into one. So we had a draft made up, and that's where we're sitting.
Signage, where are we at with it?
That's the biggie. I'm still waiting for a catalog, and I did talk to Clement from the county. And it's all on the village or the clubs or whatever donations we can get to put signs up. There's probably 150 signs that have to go up. Well, that's the next question. I've been in with the local judge, and there have been no citations issued for any golf carts. It was all mini bikes, anything but we have a golf cart ordinance, and there has been no violations on that. So it comes down to how many were registered. If somebody would enforce something, we'd have more registration on it. Okay. And I mean, the sheriff's department or the DNR would be the ones enforcing this.
And what are the restrictions on ages of operators or anything like that?
You have to be a licensed driver.
16 years of age.
And any, the most, we have how many, 22 subdivisions in the village. And all of our subdivisions, as well as the towns themselves, all have basically a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. Okay, and this draft that we written up is limited to a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. So in other words, that's the road that you could drive on. And I don't know if there's any 45 in the village.
There'd be 45, but it would be on a county road, and it's my understanding they could cross over but not
Yeah.
travel on
Yep.
any county road.
No county roads, no state roads, just village streets,
What about safety equipment,
meaning
seat belts, lights?
that's all DNR rules. Okay,
What are those rules?
well, on a four-wheeler, you don't need a seat belt.
What about lights?
Yes. And that's a DNR rule, your lights have to be on.
So in essence, they're just taking what the DNR has. When you register that ATV, UTV, you get a set of rules with it. And those are the rules that have to be followed. But as far as enforcement, that's up to the county sheriff. And we've asked numerous times with golf carts to look at them. And what's happened is tickets have been issued for mini bikes, go-karts. I know there was a go-kart in my neighborhood, as an example, driven by 7-year-olds. So.
I don't know, I just believe that this is probably a step in the wrong direction from a safety perspective for the drivers, because you know, obviously there's a difference of opinion, you know, 60% of elected would say yes, 40% say no. But I hope this will all out.
Madam Chairman. I was reading through this and it's pretty good, except I'm really hesitant on getting them on the 35-mile-an-hour roads. I can live with the 25-mile-an-hour roads in the village, in the subdivisions itself. If you went by my house during the weekend, you'd be amazed at what goes up and down my drive, up and down my road. But I think when we start mixing into the 35-mile-an-hour, more cars, somebody's gonna die that way, at 35 miles an hour. 25, I can live with it. That's in the subdivisions themselves, but when we got people going from my subdivisions all the way up to towns with gas station, all the way down the roads and back.
I don't think there's any village road that's greater than 35.
I know that 35 is pretty.
No. What I'm saying to you though is the village roads are 25. County roads are 35.
Those roads are 25 too, or 35 too.
Where?
268, 264. All them up the main roads are all 35 and more.
45, yeah.
Oh,
I feel that this, we were supposed to put a committee together and to go through this whole thing and discuss it. And I still think that that's where that needs to go before we go any further. I don't want to make any hasty decisions, overlook anything and, so if you're ready to move forward with that, then I think then we need to put that on the agenda and get that formed. I know you got some names, right?
Yeah, there are 4 of us.
Yeah. And kind of work through everything and maybe even work with some other neighboring communities that have been through this process and ask them what worked, what didn't, what did they learn, what have they learned since?
But I know I have talked to Bloomfield on this as well, and they have a lot of tickets issued. Okay, but they have their local enforcement. They have their local Bloomfield, police department and stuff. So, and the biggest question comes up is who's going to enforce it?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I think that we should table this for now. Everyone okay with that?
Yep. You want a motion?
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we table this.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ron?
Yeah.
Okay, Phil?
yes.
Billy? Yes, Kelly?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay, number 9, Belmar and Yaws sanitary sewer improvements. Pete Coley. So I added this, I'm going to preface this by saying I added this to the agenda after the August town meeting when we had this presentation. And Mr. Coley was concerned enough to send an email, which I did send to staff. However, they did not answer. So I followed up with Pete this week and found out he's done a lot of research. We sat down on Saturday and talked about it, and he's got a lot of credible information. And so I asked him to be here today.
My name's Pete Foley, live at 30728 112th Street in Wilmot. And I want to thank the board and staff and people of Little Salem for giving me an opportunity as a concerned citizen to just air and bring attention to possibly a different path for the replacement of the sanitary sewer system. And I first became aware of the sanitary sewer system project over in Belmar and Yars. I'm happened to be here last month at the meeting, and there was a presentation by Strand and Associates, and they talked about $12 million to change the pressurized sewer system to a gravity system. And my background is sewer and water and plumbing since I was a little boy, and I worked for Lake County, Illinois as a sewer and water inspector, and I've overseen many different types of projects related to street wells, water towers, lift stations, everything that we're talking about here today for the most part. And so I started taking a look and ask questions about, what is going on with the existing pressure system, and is going to gravity really the right way to go about it? And so I've got a number of talking points, and I'll go through them and then definitely take some questions. But one thing I just want to talk about, like the benefits of replacing the existing pressurized system with an upgrade, just 4 years ago, with an upgraded system incorporating today's new technologies. And the first one is that the system would be directionally drilled, not open cut. The design that's proposed by Strand calls for open cut. We have stretches from 10 to 15 feet to 20 feet to as much as 25 feet. So we're going down the lane of a road, we're moving material, hauling that material out, bringing granular material in, and then a road reconstruction project. Pulling just the road reconstruction out of the project, according to a response that I did get Saturday evening, would remove $2.7 to $3.1 million from the project because of the trench that's required to put the sewer in versus trenchless technology, which is totally used by E1 and other pressure type collection systems. Also, the new design requires, I believe it's 2, possibly 3 brand new submersible lift stations. These are, for people who don't know, it's called a wet well, typically, and you have a generator, you have submersible pumps, and it's a pretty expensive component. Those can be anywhere from 250,000, 400,000 piece. I don't have a breakdown of what Strand had in their budget line items, but we wouldn't need 2 of those for sure if we stayed on the pressure system. So you could deduct $600,000 to $800,000 from the project by staying in the pressure. So we eliminate about 95% of excavation with the trenching project staying with a pressurized system. Inconvenience to the residents, you wouldn't be taking out a lane of road for potentially over a year, if I understand the timeline correctly. So that easier on access daily traffic for residents as well as emergency vehicles if anything were to happen during the project. This one's kind of a big one, overall project payback. So we all pay approximately $560 a year for our sanitary sewer. Maybe it's different in areas, but at least that's what I pay, and I live over in Wilmot. And so if you extrapolate the cost of this product, approximately 185 or 186 homes, and you take $12 million and you divide it out, it's a cost of about $70,000 per lot to go to gravity from pressure. Which if you're paying $560 a year in sewer and you take it in a linear fashion without any advance in cost, it goes up about 115 years before people would pay enough money back to pay off what the system is. I know there's going to be some grant money in there and different things, but I think it's an important illustration to take into account. There was a little bit of and I did get a response, and that there was some concerns that the lifespan of the gravity sewer would be 50 years, gravity collection, and that the pressurized system would be about 40 years, that it's about at its lifespan. But nonetheless, if we just were to use 50 years either way, we can pay for potentially, this system literally could be half of the $12 million to redo the pressurized system with another pressurized system with today's technology. And that's a pretty significant number that our community needs to take a close look at. Upon my inquiry, and I asked, was pressurized system looked at for a possible alternative versus going to gravity? And the answer I received was no. Additional items, shallow excavations means less exposure to groundwater and less hazardous installation conditions for the winning bidder's crew and safer job site. This particular method of installation, directional drill, would require excavations, not necessarily in excess of 10 feet deep. And so you'd have between 5 and 10 foot deep excavations versus all the way down to 25 feet. So we can all agree that that would be safer for installation. Speed of installation, about a third of the time that it takes to put in the gravity system, you could put in the pressure system. Restoration of both turf and pavement would be less if the ground and roadway disturbance is less. And then, let's see. Reduced installation costs would more than pay for labor to maintain pumps as well as pump replacement costs. I talked about literally there's millions of dollars that potentially be saved here. I happen to have spoken with a family who lives in the neighborhood, and they say that other than having to replace their pump, they're not familiar with any issues with the system. However, I did read a 2017 sewer report that is available on the website, and I'm familiar with the problems that currently exist. There's some clogging. And Brad, I thought at one point you mentioned there were some breaks. How frequent, roughly speaking, number of breaks per year do we have?
Probably at this group's time for
Four breaks a year.
more Spain. And probably we changed.
A few times?
A few times.
A few times over the course of how long?
Plug twice. And those plugs are, you don't know where they're at. Every 50 feet, and it's good here, it's bad here, so you want to plug somewhere in between.
So the good news is about the plugging, been redesigning with today's knowledge and technology. There's always a constant movement and scouring capabilities designed into the system. And I was going to mention later on, but it seems like a good place to interject at this point is that E1, which is a global company who specializes in strictly low pressure collection, has free design, hydraulic design that they give to any community who's interested in their system. So there is that. So designing it correctly would reduce, if not completely eliminate, clogs in the pressure system. Those bugs have, for the most part, been worked out. There was also some back and forth. You and I had, Brad, or should say, response in regards to that there's some vertical pumps at play, and then if we were to go to progressive cavity on other applications, these two couldn't necessarily work together. And there's a couple different ways to approach that problem, but one of which is to give every home a E1 processing lift station, and then they're all pumping in through the same technology and nothing's fighting each other. So there are some ways to work around that, especially if we did full replacement. We're talking about gravity being a full replacement, we would do full replacement of pressure, which I don't know that we necessarily need to do. So I do have some questions in regards to what you started to answer. How much have we spent to maintain annually the system in regards to unforeseen events like breaks and clogs? If you had to pick a number,
Probably around 50,000.
so maybe with labor we might say 70,000. Is that fair annually? Okay. So groundwater, I know you answered me on the soil borings and said that in general, there was, I think, water found at 18 of the 69 core samples for soil testing in regards to what to expect with the excavations. But if you take out 15,000 linear feet, you divide that out by the 69, you roughly get about 230 feet in between soil borings in a potentially swampy lake situation, and soil conditions can change in 50 feet. I personally am aware of a project on Lake County that soil borings were nowhere close to actual conditions when they started to excavate. So when I did ask the homeowner, he told me about what they know going on over there, they live there. So they told me some excavations are going to go beyond 15 feet. There's someone in the trades, they started laughing, saying, "Good luck, I hope you're doing a life jacket." So that's their experience living there. But I don't No, but I think like to see those billboards. Also, we might not have to completely replace the existing system. There is upgrades available from E1 to upgrade, like there's steel holes for pulling pumps out and different things, and they have new drop-in replacement components. So you might be actually be able to do a phased upgrade to the system and do a lower budget over maybe the course of a couple of years and replace sections. As maybe just that would be determined through engineering, but that's distinctly a possibility. Even if I'm totally wrong, and the projects were to cost equal to go pressure collection versus to install gravity, the overall operation costs over time for treating I&I, which is inflow and infiltration, as well as the energy costs associated with the lift stations that we would be installing, would be more with gravity than they would be with low pressure collection. And when I said inflow and infiltration, that might sound like gibberish to a lot of people, but unless you're in the trade, you don't really know what that is. But basically, when you have a gravity system, everything wants to get into the empty pipe, including the groundwater. When you have a pressurized system, it's a sealed system, which is a great thing to think about if we were to have another flooding event. And I don't know exactly what happens in that neighborhood during a flooding event, but when you have manholes every 200 to 300 feet, those are all vulnerability points for lake water to enter into the system and potentially give our treatment plant a run for its money. So a pressurized system would be guards against that. Let's see here. I cannot find a case anywhere where a low pressure pipe system has been replaced with gravity. Actually, it's entirely the other way around. Gravity systems, due to the cost savings, are being replaced with low pressure piping collection systems. Current timeline for this project is to go to bid November of this year, open bids December, award, and start construction in February. Based on the number of breaks that you're saying, Brad, and the issues involved, that we don't have a burning need to make this happen. My recommendation as a resident and reviewing just from a 500-foot viewpoint on what's going on here is to ask the board tonight to actually put a stop to the project until low pressure piping replacement or upgrade has been reviewed and compared financially and decided moving the best way forward with the different components that I put out tonight. I know I said it earlier, and it might have sounded a little bit odd, but potentially it could be a $6 million project instead of a $12 million project. And we owe it to the residents of the entire village to look at this closely, and we can put this off a while longer. It probably would only take a few weeks to get the answer through the engineering firm. Strand Engineering, when I checked with E1, has a long history working with E1, but I would possibly recommend instead of the engineer who designed the gravity, or at least who spoke to us last month, a couple of quick questions I asked him. He retorted back with some answers that indicated to me that he might not be a specialist in pressure piping. I'm sure somebody else in the office there is. There's one thing that happens that some people might have some concerns with the existing system that I almost forgot to mention, which is community storage backing up into the home.
That's
okay. So the old system that you have there has a singular check valve that's made of a cast iron body and a simple ball that goes up to stop it. And what that's stopping is flow coming from the community pressurized system and keeps it from going to your house. State code and regulations now require to have dual redundancy, and those valves are made out of stainless steel, where they've almost completely eliminated that occurrence. Okay.
I'm Katie Zerla. I live in Dallas at the end of 271 people. And my question to you, my two neighbors, Steve Wilcox, myself, and Mr. Rungy. Both of Steve and Pat Rungy has an external grinder pump. Mine is in the house. Never really paid attention until the cracks started coming out. So I replaced the pump. I tried to do everything I possibly can do. The question is, will this situation that they're working on alleviate that from occurring where anything would back up into my house again?
I mean, whether you went with gravity or this low pressure piping system. So you're asking me if we stay with low pressure piping, would it still happen to your basement? Well, the answer is highly unlikely due to the dual check valve system. And this is being used globally. It's in over 40 countries. And actually currently right now, there's a community in Illinois where they're looking at 5,000 homes that are potentially. So it's not like it's old technology that we want to get rid of. It's that original technology that's 40 years old, and now there's new technology today that makes it a completely sealed system. And in the gravity source system, pipes are put together with both pumps, you get the male and female hub, and the pipes are laid in the ground and put together. Even though those pipes are polyvinyl chloride, SDR26, and have gasket connections, the structures are still concrete and do allow for overtime that I&I, which causes our community expenses down the road, which potentially start happening when all of us are long gone. Fertilizer, but nonetheless, it's looking out for our future generations of this community. And honestly, any other areas that we have that are possibly going to be replaced by age, we should be looking, in my opinion, at converting over to low pressure piping collection and moving away from gravity.
Holly?
We have 3 properties in Belmar, and I mean, I live in Salem Lake. I live in a gravity fed sewer environment, and there is a need. We have had a grinder pump go out. The village was amazing, but we had to have somebody come and pump out the well every day while we were waiting for parts to come in to fix this. I mean,
Sure.
when I think about this, it's been overwhelming. The next door neighbor, he did have sewage back up into his home. And, you know, if there is a change, I think we should speak with those that own property in Belmar, because I think about where I live, where it is gravity fed sewer. My husband is a water and sewer operator, and there is an ease without the grinder pumps, without all of that added equipment that falls onto the homeowners, and there is a stress with that. Did you hear an alarm? I heard my neighbor's alarm. It's stressful.
Well, I'm sure it is, but I don't know if you, there's a lot to take in what I presented tonight, but if you were to go and look up E1, there's videos online, and you're dealing with technology from 4 years ago, and a lot of that's, almost all that's been eliminated through engineering design and something like 26 million applications globally and growing. And so if it was continuously a problem with today's technology, that wouldn't be happening. So that double redundant check valve system I talked about is going to be what detects you from that. Your grinder pumps are going to be changed to these new progressive gravity pumps. And then if they were all uniform, one thing the village could do to alleviate your concerns in regards to getting parts for the pump. The biggest thing that goes wrong with these current progressive cavity pumps is a stator that goes bad approximately between 8 and 15 years. And the pumps can all be rebuilt, and there's you can get them at the Green Bay for rebuilding, but the village could potentially, if all the pumps were changed over to the same pump as part of this project, and to alleviate neighborhood concerns, could stock pumps that the community could have access to for a trade out and then rebuild, and then we could have a call out to our staff that's on call already 24 hours a day to bring those over and get that going, and then not have to do that continuous pump out. There's lots of ways to work around some of these issues in detail. And I hear you saying we should ask the community, but I don't know if you caught the 115-year payback at $70-some thousand a lot. It's a huge amount of money, and there are other ways to deal with some of these issues to bring it all together and make everybody happy.
My concern is to be, let's do it academically now, but is this truly the best long-term for, sewer treatment plan? I guess I assume that the sewer treatment or sewer experts have reviewed this, and this was their recommendation.
Right.
But they did.
Okay.
They have to make.
So I'm going to interrupt here. So again, Pete had sent an email, which did go to staff. Staff did not answer until Saturday evening when this was put on the agenda. And after sitting with Pete on Saturday for an hour and a half, there is a lot to go through.
Yeah.
I recommend that this, and if you're willing, that we relook at this project and meet with these people, and also maybe have Strand on board and staff and relook at it. I think there's
So the one question I have is you keep talking about E1. Are there other companies out here that do similar?
There is, but they're pretty much the gold standard. So that's, and so I didn't put it this way, like I sent this email and then didn't hear anything. And then I kind of rushed into it, and the information I was able to get with a great website and talk to some people was through E1. There could very well be other companies to work with for low pressure collection, so I'm not ruling that out. But what I'm saying is that they're already on board with Strand on previous projects where we can get that cost comparison and that application comparison and find a way forward. Should we stop and review this? And then at that point, decide, is it E1? Is it whatever one of these other companies out there? We certainly could dig into that level. Right now, I was just trying to say, hello, stop, don't move forward. Let's look at this.
And I agree with that. Okay, any other thoughts?
No, I think it's worth looking into. The
That's-
cost of this project is astronomical.
Madam President,
Yes.
I just want you to let, know who Strand is here,
Oh, good.
and I am on board, which is.
With relooking. Okay.
Thank you.
Would you like to be part of that, Pete?
Oh, that's because I absolutely would love to be part of the committee looking into that as well.
All right, then,
Need a motion, Tate? Well, we.
I am going to make a motion to relook at this and have Strand, Pete and our staff, along with perhaps E1, look to see if this is a viable option for us.
Also move that.
Seconded by Barheit. Kelly,
Aye, yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. All right. Okay, let's try to hurry it up here. On to Public Works. Number 1, discussion of possible action on payment request number 4 by Asphalt Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $703,496.63 for the 2023 Street Utilities Improvements Program.
So move. Second.
Hopkins and Gant. One question I had, because I could not read the invoice. I see the pickleball courts, I think, are on this one. Yes, Brad?
Correct.
How much was that? You know, I couldn't make it out.
Right up and. Because it's all done in quantities.
It is.
Yes.
Okay. So this isn't the total? No.
This we're still gonna retain, stuff for restoration.
Okay.
Typically we retain $10,000. So next year, till we know that the grass is gonna grow. The restoration.
Okay. All right. Kelly,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries 5-0. Number 2, discussion of possible action on final payment request number 8 by Payne and Dolan, Inc. in the amount of $10,000 for the 2022 street and utilities improvements. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Bill and Ron? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 3, discussion and possible action on the purchase of 4 new tires for the 521E case loader from Lowest Tire in the amount of $9,032.58.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a question on this. Brian, can you bring up these invoices, please? If you, make, so I don't know if you have these in front of you, Brad. But if you make those a little bit larger, on Lois, they are quoting 4 tires, but on pumps, they have 6. So that is an extra $2,772, which would actually bring them in much lower than Lois, unless I'm reading this wrong, but there's 6 tires on here. So that would bring us down to $3,710.60 instead of $9,000. Take that back. Would not.
Where do you get six from?
It's 6 here at $13.50 each. And then you have the 12, which would really be 6 at $36 each. I don't know where my phone is. I don't have it, so I don't have a calculator. Anyways, we would save. Huh?
Four.
Yeah, do you see Palms is 6?
I'm just six.
Yeah, so if you actually deducted the extra 2 tires plus the 6 tire life, whatever that is, and bring it down to 6, you're gonna save $2,772, which actually brings it in under Lois. Somebody have a calculator?
Here it is.
I think it's, you say. Well, I just need to take 970160 minus 277.
It's $7,001.
7 what?
$7,001.60.
If I take 1350 times 2 and then 36 times 6. I think it's
We duck $2,700 off of.
$2,772, right? So
You're down around 7,000 then, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I would be,
So I amend the motion to award it to Pumps, provided that it is in fact 4 tires at $13.50, not the 6. That's on the invoice.
I'm gonna get the exact number.
Well, the tires that for Lloyd there are 18 a piece,
Mm-hmm,
and the tires at Pomps are $13.50 a piece.
correct.
Right. But he's got quantity of 6 where we're. only
Yeah, so you got $500 just in a tire.
Right.
Correct, so. $700. 36 times 6 is 27. Goes minus 97. So your invoice from Palms should be somewhere around $6,785.60 instead of
9,000.
9,000.
Yep.
So. You want to redo your motion with that amount?
Yeah, Chanel. Yeah.
I'll amend the motion to approve $6,785.60 to Pumps Tire Service for the replacement of 4 tires.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Hopkins and Barheit, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye, motion carries. Number 4, discussion and possible action on the replacement of 170 high-pressure sodium streetlights with LED fixtures by We Energies in the amount of $59,100.
So I have a question about this. Why are we now replacing 71 lights versus waiting for the lights to go out and then replace them?
Because fixtures have quite a lifespan, so
Okay.
they'll keep replacing bulbs. but they don't change out the fixture until the fixture actually goes bad.
But what I'm asking though is, why are we doing it all up front as opposed to when the bulb goes out? Instead of replacing just the bulb, we replace the fixture with the LED lights.
At that
Do
time.
that, you get your cost savings from doing the mass quantity.
What is the lifespan of the sodium? You know,
I'd say,
I think it's about 24,000 hours from what I looked up, but I'm not really sure if that was right.
yeah, they're both.
Okay, whereas the LEDs are 50,000 hours. So they last like, I figured 8 hours a day. Obviously, that would change, but like 17 years versus 8 years on the other ones. Is there a cost savings to do them all at one time? Should we get like any volume discount?
There is the, just on electricity, the total monthly savings is $798. 7-year savings would be $67,106. 10-year savings, $138,317. 15-year, $257,000. 20-year savings, $375,000.
Okay, does We Energies give us any discount for the fixtures? If you buy them on upfront?
Not that I'm aware of.
So now basically these light fixtures we do have, when the light bulb is burned out, okay, do they replace the fixture or just replace the bulb?
Just about.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing is we have subdivisions, there are no street lights in them at all.
Mhm.
So why are we gonna, spend $150,000 and we could be putting street lights in somewhere else?
No, we were just contacted by We Energy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And just presenting this. to you.
yeah.
I mean, I would be in favor of replacing them as they go out.
I'm in favor of that too. But you save, it's like a $50 bulb in those.
Is that
It's like a $50 bulb or something like that in those.
probably well there now?
You're gonna have the manpower there already just to switch it out, an extra half-hour labor.
Yeah. Anyone else?
No,
No, I agree with you. Just replace them as they go out.
Okay.
so when the light bulb goes out though, the homeowner where the pole sits closest to, they're not gonna contact the village. They're gonna contact the energies, correct?
They should contact We Energies, but they do call us
Right.
first.
And then you-
Go on the
and then-
website.
And then you're directed, there's a number on every pole. And you just give them the number and they'll replace it, fix it one way or the other.
Yeah, you just go on their website and. I can-
So would We Energies then replace that entire fixture or is it the village responsibility?
We can request that they do the entire picture, but then you will get that individual cost that's on the spreadsheet. For the picture.
Yeah, but then it's spread out over, quite a long time.
Yeah, they spread out the cost of the fixture over 7 years. That's why your cost savings dramatically goes up after that 7 years. For electricity.
So you're saying that the 59,000,
That's insufficient.
right,
What's the fixture price each? I don't know why I'm not seeing it.
They're all different.
Well, how do we want to go about this? Do we want to just assign a dollar amount or just how do you want to do it?
the payback over
Yep.
7 years,
Sorry.
the payback over 7 years. I don't know. I'm kind of in favor of that.
So I just have one comment. I live next to the high school and they upgraded their lighting some years back. And when they changed it, the bulbs were just a little bit lower and they were brighter. And it really lit up, not just my house, but coming through like the bedroom window where we had to put blackout blinds in. The biggest concern is when you change these lights over for all the residents, are they gonna be a higher lumen and more sideways piercing, or are they gonna keep the same, call it 45-degree angle downward, just for all the residents of the community? Maybe it's fine, because of what I went through, I just want to bring it up.
No, we've been through that situation. In the parking lot.
Right.
They had to come out and put shields on it to direct the light down.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the replacement of 170 bulbs. If the cost savings, if these numbers are correct, 7 years and we're paying everything back, correct?
Correct.
And then the savings kicks in.
Then the real savings kicks in. For Salem Lakes installation cost, payback period is 6.5 years. For the Silver Lake Hamlet area, it's 5.5 years. Start to see savings in electricity. Right.
Yeah. I'd make a motion to approve the 170 replacement of 170 high pressure sodium lights with the LED fixtures.
Do I have a second? Okay, we do not have one.
There could be an alternative to this, if that's a dead issue right now. We could replace so many a year. And add any ones that go out into that so many per year too.
I think I would be in favor of approving all of the Silver Lake ones right now at a cost of, is it $17,265? Is that it, Brad?
Yes.
Given that we are, have not had a chance to even look at the budget yet. And you say that.
And we did budget 50,000 last year. This year.
Doesn't mean we have to spend it right now.
But I would also put on that, when one goes out, we replace it with the new style barn, the new style
I
light.
would be okay with that too.
You can go with that.
You want to make that motion, see if that sticks?
Which motion? The one
So
that.
that would adjust the upfront installation costs then from 41,000 to almost half.
Well, I'm just talking about only doing Silver Lakes at a cost of $17,265
Okay,
right now. And then Bill thought maybe we just replace any in Salem as they go out.
I mean, we could do both. We could do like then when any one other ones go out, we replace them.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. We can do Silver Lake, okay? And as you're saying, then as they go out, change the fixtures.
And then we'll see how these lights actually work. Yeah. If we're not too bright.
Yep.
So we don't have to put
Okay, so
plastic up in the
make a
windows.
motion. Gonna make a motion of that, Bill?
I'll make a motion that effect. We'll do Silver Lakes. And then any other lights that go out, we'll replace them with the new style light.
I'll second it.
So Barheit and Gant. Kelly,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries 5-0 to do Silver Lake lights at a cost of $17,265 and Salem's as they go out. Okay. Move on to planning and zoning. Number 1, discussion and possible action on resolution conditionally approving a certified survey map request by Chad Zioli, owner for a land division of 24520 84th Street, tax parcels 70-120, 113, 0770 into 2 separate parcels. For information purposes only, these parcels are located on the north side of 84th Street, approximately 600 feet east of 245th Avenue.
Did this go through the planning zoning? They approved it? Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Hopkins?
Question.
Oh,
When I pinned the address, it appears, is it waterfront?
Yes, it is.
It is. So is the purpose to subdivide the lot from the house to the lake? Because it didn't look like it was wide enough to go the length.
It's creating two lake property.
Can you build on both?
Yes, yeah.
So it'd be more tax
And
space?
it's within our standards now.
Yes. Oh, there it is.
That's wanted to make sure. I'll second.
All right, so Hopkins and Barheit. Ronnie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Which bill?
I'm a yes, motion carries. Number two, discussion and possible action on a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Salem Lakes and the Wisconsin Department of Transportation regarding parcels 704-120-063-0100 and 704-120-063-0200 and possible future improvements to the shoulder of State Highway 50, address 30722 Geneva Road, State Highway 50. For information purposes only, this parcel is on the north side of State Highway 50, approximately 1,400 feet west of 304th Avenue.
So Brad, what are they asking for here in layman's terms?
Look, it's the old Eric's sausage shop. I don't know, if everybody's aware, it's got the two driveways, it's got
Yeah.
a U shape. We're eliminating one of those access points. And he can build his storefront and warehouse, nothing needs to be done. When he goes to phase two, which he showed contractor condos or mini storage. He's tossing that around yet, but when that is done, the state's gonna require a traffic study. That you will have to pay for. And depending on that traffic study, possibly make shoulder improvements. We got enough property owner in this case.
And who would pay for that traffic study?
It would be the property owner.
Okay. When you said you, I thought you're talking to the board. We would pay for it. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Do I have a
I'll second that.
Hopkins and Barheit. Ron,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, motion carries.
Big bill too.
Fire Rescue Department, number one, permission to sell at Wisconsin surplus auction. These are two different items. A 1994 step van and a 2,000 gallon quantum fire engine. The step van, I believe, is the one with the VIN number and the mileage of 14,881 miles. Am I correct on that, chief?
Right, it's still evaluating which quantum, but
You have more than one?
just one quantum,
You only have one?
and one step.
And how many miles does the quantum have?
I have to research it. But
What year is it? 2012? Why are we getting rid of it?
so excess merchandise, we don't need anymore based on
Based on what?
staffing miles. And it's showing age much more quicker than the other one. Too.
This isn't one that has like a lifetime guarantee on the, no.
We tried that route with frame rails with Pearson.
Mhm. And so then when staffing amounts go up, hopefully, then what do we do?
Two quantum engines and two reserve engines from Silver Lake. Acquisition.
Okay, so we won't need to buy another one? Okay. Okay,
Which step van is that? The yellow Wilmot ones? What are you gonna use for warming in the winter?
For
For,
it's gonna be for 5851. Yeah. Probably some any rescues, technical rescue.
that heavy truck? How are you gonna put so many people in there for winter, for a ice rescue?
Put people in a squad and they have taxis.
Why not just keep that one for that reason only even? So we don't have to replace it.
Maintenance costs are going up as well. And it's starting to show some losses.
I'm not worried about
Cost,
that.
I think.
It actually does cost us.
You got insurance, a little bit of fuel.
Costs us to maintenance.
Yeah, because we got rid of all the other ones. This is the last one, correct? Well,
The price that they're getting at auction. Pretty good now.
I mean, how you gotta pull it? I just think for ice rescue and all that stuff, we need to have one of those around. I don't want to buy another one.
Yeah, we have squats out there again. Next year we're picking up the end of the month.
That's a monster to drive around and go to the lakes. That's the same size as the Quantums, if not bigger. I just don't see the reason to sell that red clay. I mean, I know you bought that truck, but
I agree. Maybe let's go through the winter and readdress it in the spring when the markets.
Are we gonna approve either one to go to auction?
You track the maintenance costs on all of the fire vehicles?
Are you asking Paul? Paul,
Truly track it,
Yeah,
and we do with Scotty. Scotty has spreadsheets.
Paul, do you agree that this one is getting too expensive to fix?
Review it.
I think we need to review that.
which one is this one? 11, 13, or 14? 14?
Do we want to approve?
One of them is gonna cost $7,000
I know they're getting old.
for each of the turn boxes on the thing.
Well, we can put that one on after after Paul gets us some information. Do we want to?
Chairman, I don't know if he has or not, for us as a village, I think we should have lists of all our vehicles that we have.
I agree.
Life expectancy,
I agree.
where we added everything. I'm sure there's somewhere on there to make an informed information on these and see where we want to go with our staffing that we have. And all that we have now, where we want to be, where do we think we're going to be? Same with, do we want that new station? Do we want to just rehab what we have? I mean, we have a huge picture here
Mhm.
that none of us know. They know some. But we need to all get together and maybe even some citizens to see where we want to be with this.
can you provide the board the maintenance costs, the life cycle maintenance costs on all the fire vehicles? Can you send that?
Something reasonable, I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to see the maintenance costs on all the vehicles from the time we purchased to now. You can send that to us in an email?
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, that would work. Thank you.
So do we want to approve the quantum fire engine, or do we want to table both of these?
I'd say table both.
All righty. I have a motion.
Motion to table.
I'll second it.
Hopkins and Gant, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 2, approval of Rosenbauer invoice 90624 in the amount of $7,215 for lettering and striping of squad 5851. This is the new truck that we have not picked up yet.
Jimmy, is it any cheaper to do this lettering while it's home rather than up there?
You know, we had vendors down here for us about the same.
There's no
If you don't
difference.
stand by it, there won't be a lot of finger pointing when it comes to warranty finish. Or, you know, this includes it seems expensive, but it includes the Oracle chevrons on both the front and rear.
This is listed as a change order. What was the original order?
They call it a change order, but in essence, it's the final placement of the decals and picking out the decals. And so
Was there original bid on this for the lettering? Nothing?
Anyone want to do a motion, or?
A motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Hampton Barheight? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, anyone opposed? I keep forgetting to ask that today. I'm an aye, so motion carries. Number 3, Second of three purchase requests, equipment for squad 5851 in the amount of $82,459.93. This has been budgeted in the 2023 capital plan under fleet management. Chief, I have a lot of questions about this one. So going through this, where is the stuff off the other truck? Why can't we use that?
We are using a line share. This is a supplement to,
All right, so can you explain why we need, do we really need 3 storage rolling chests? Is that, what do you,
tools for proper care and maintenance of the tools that we're purchasing and walking.
and they go where, in the fire station
No,
or on the truck? They go on the truck? I need to come look at it. Okay. And then we use battery operated chainsaws. Why don't we use gas?
We do have some gas chainsaws as well, the steel products, but we're moving more toward battery. That's more the industry standard.
Yeah, but when you forget to charge it and you're at a fire, then what happens?
We have charged on part of it, which is walking through.
Okay. We need 2 generators.
Yes.
Trying to understand. And then the last question,
Generators, those are comparable to the Heinz.
and you need 2 on the truck?
We've had good luck with those, since the present events. And, they're seeing right up one part of the house, and then back there as well.
Okay. And then my last question then would be, is the hydraulic bottle jacks, we have a 12-pound and a 20. We can't just get away with just a 20, you need a 12 as well.
And they lift and kind of lift at 2 points times, we could eliminate one.
I'm just wondering, what's the difference between that and a farm jack? What's a farm jack? Is that different?
Farm jack's a high lift jack.
A what?
High lift jack. It's
Okay.
About that high.
Got it.
Flags are for different applications, technical rescue. Look at truck as well.
And we need all of this?
That on a recommended list that we have to get this qualification for this truck? We don't need qualifications for this truck, but it is a recommended tool purchase for various operations. So it's not a requirement, it's just what we need to do it.
It's all entailed for 2-way radio communications for 54,000 for a truck. I don't know if I'm missing
2
something.
mobile radios and then we are the radio. So Wisconsin compliant, which is the compliant standard for emergency apparatus. Particularly
So what do you do with the old ones then that we have now?
the ones we have are being that squad truck and the engine that. If they're compliant, many of our radios are not compliant with. 25 compliant.
Why aren't they compliant?
We're buying these.
So how many radios in total are behind?
I couldn't answer that.
Yeah, can you get that to us too, please?
We're in line for $600,000 grant. For the federal government.
600,000?
Have you got other quotes on the same on the comparable radios? I don't know what those are from Baycon, that's the companies. So you have other companies that bid on it too then? Not on that radio, it's a single source because of, who offers it. Baycon is the distributor to this area for public safety. Comparable to others? Comparable? Yeah, the radio's comparable to other makes, models. Yeah. I mean, price wise, too. Price wise, Motorola's always gonna be a higher price.
What's on the third purchase request? All right, what do we want to do here?
I don't think we have much of a choice at this point. I would make a motion to approve the $82,459.93 for equipment for squad truck 5851.
Have a second?
Do you have a total price of what this truck is even gonna cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the truck that breaks by.
Yeah, but how much,
What is the
what's our
total
part?
cost of this truck? To equip it, to buy it and equip
This
it?
is budgeted in the 2023 budget, $350,000 for equipment for that truck.
50,000.
Just for equipment. It's gonna replace three vehicles, 3 to 4 vehicles.
Which vehicles?
I don't,
5851, which we put to auction. Anticipated 5852, and then one other one.
That's three.
There's the extrication.
What's the other vehicle? You said four.
5851.
Yeah, 5852.
One of the old panel trucks, the other panel trucks, the walk, the red trucks.
and we call it red trucks. We only have one of them now, right? If we get rid of one, we don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
That's the old Silver Lake one?
No, Wilmot's old one.
Okay.
It's like a big. You know, you put a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, Silver Lake used to have one.
Yeah, every station used to have one, but we got, they're
All right,
gone.
well, Bill made a motion to approve.
I'm gonna abstain.
I need a second if we're gonna go forward.
Just to remind the board that I did budget for this in 2023. Yeah.
I understand that, but
Jimmy, he asked,
sitting and
how
spending.
much more are we gonna have to put into this truck?
This is the second of 3 draws.
Another 100,000?
And then we're done? And everything on the next one is needed as well?
Bought the truck.
Right. Oh, truck is, okay. Okay, do I have a second? When does this truck come in?
We're picking up 26.
Mhm.
Since I abstained, Jimmy, I think what might make these people a little less hesitant, maybe we come up with our list of things that you're gonna have to, we're gonna need for this truck coming up in the next quota, in the next round, the $100,000 round. So they got an idea what you're gonna need. You know, what tools you still need after this one. Just to make them, because they're not aware of
We
everything.
definitely need radios. I don't have any radios for them.
Right? This is radio on this one. What's the next one? See, all of this coming like this and it's, numbers are quite large. So it'd be just more information, what we still need after this one, if this one goes through. To help them realize what the cost, total cost
So
of this
lead times
machine
on
is.
these radios and this equipment, you know, 180 days or more. I'm already pushing on lead times on radios.
6 months?
So you weren't expecting the radios till next spring? Is that what I just heard you say?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get these radios as soon as we can.
Okay.
This isn't fast, and we could put these quotes together. This is done by committee. We benchmark with the other departments around here. Our goal is not to duplicate, but to complement.
All right. All right, and I ask one last time if I have a second.
Dive on for a second.
He died.
is the Baycoms, the radios.
Yes.
Hey, Brian, can you close that door out there?
I would make a motion to approve only the Baycom invoice at $13,610.
That does not, that is anything, that's
It's the headset.
So what else goes with that?
The 54,000.
Ah. So then we're at 67, huh?
That's the cost of what it costs.
Mhm.
You wanna amend your motion?
Yes, I'm gonna get a calculator.
Is there a catalog that you utilize? How do you call up this company and they give you quotes over the phone? Is there a catalog?
Or which, the radios?
Well, for the whole invoice, it appears it's all coming out of one place, one supplier, one vendor.
It's not all one vendor, we piecemeal and go vendor to vendor, and make sure that the price is right. It's nice on there, nice hardware. That was a shop.
You have not withdrawn your motion.
You don't just.
Oh, it does.
What's the value, for example?
Okay. Well, I will withdraw my motion. I would say we are gonna have a meeting next week. Can you please get us a full list of everything that's left for this truck? In addition to this, along with copies of the info or the estimates, and then we will put it on next week's agenda. Great. So I make a motion to table it
Second.
and seconded by Hopkins. Kelly,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Bill, are you abstaining or?
Excuse me, sir, ma'am.
Sir? Wow. Kidding.
Abstain. Yeah, I
Abstaining, all right.
Yes.
And Bill,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so motion carries 4-1. Right, number 4, shared revenue requests. So I guess this is just sort of your high level wish list of the most important, so you want to elaborate on anything? I know you had sent me a few emails a while ago.
Based on shared revenue request. From the board,
Mhm.
the most important thing that sticks out right now are the bathroom remodels in Station 2. Particularly when we start to staff that on a more regular basis.
And when do you, because right now we're not staffing it at all, right?
We are incrementally, we have the staffing to do so. We are.
When's the last time somebody was in there? Anybody been in Station 2 lately? Are they bad? And do you have an estimate on what that would be?
We got 2 estimates right now, 54,000, the other one's 52,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
144,000
to redo bathrooms?
and the second was
I
50
think it was 88. Like that.
and the second was 53. Why the,
2 different types of contractors over there. Those are the only ones that did on the system.
All right, so that's on your wish list is the bathrooms. All right, and then
Supplies the specs for the remodel. Do you tell them what you want or they just come in and I'd like to see the proposal sheets.
I'd like to see the bathrooms. Okay. And then you mentioned also the station at B and 50 that you wanted to do some programming. What is that?
That would be our number 2 station then, or fully functional satellite station, if you will, up at the.
Why don't we use the one in Silver Lake?
It's not, it doesn't have sleeping quarters if you're talking about full-time staff.
Couldn't we put some in there?
not the way. I mean, we can look at it, so.
It's cheaper than a building.
Brick and mortar.
Mhm.
The back in the grass, so. We have sometimes. Trustee Hopkins, you remember that study? That was good.
I vaguely remember it. Can you make copies for the board?
Okay,
You don't have.
Madam Chairman,
yeah,
maybe this was another one that, when we look at this overall scale of the fire department
yeah,
and the township or the village, trucks and stuff, that we look and see where we're gonna be.
I agree. Okay,
Take some enroll, population things, and run
Yeah.
it through scenarios and see what we're gonna do.
all right. And I know you're working with the staff on the budget, right? So we'll see something in the next couple weeks.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else on this one? No? All right. Okay, so we'll move on to Administrator's Office, amendment to Chapter 200 of the Code of Ordinances to extend building permit expiration from 6 months to 1 year.
I'll make a motion for that. That sounds reasonable.
I'll second it.
Mr. Brettel, can you give us some history on this? Why?
Might be able to give me some history too, so I know some to get the discussion going. So we've had some issues in terms of accuracy or invoicing. I think it's fair to say with Safe Built, which is the building inspector now, trying to reconcile their invoices versus what permit revenue is coming in and what's being requested. So, and Brad was part of those meetings. I think our recommendation was to consider extending the life of that from 6 months to 1 year, because in large part, we're not uniformly enforcing the 6-month limit right now. So if you have that on the books like you do, I think the alternative then would be to contact a bunch of permit holders and tell them to come in and pay more to get a 6-month extension. I think the other point being is that times have changed in terms of the availability of contractors and the ability to get the materials that you need to do a job. So this would not extend the overall life. People could, it's still under the old ordinance. Folks are following it, could get 6 months and then another 6 months. You'd still have a hard limit on a year, but you would save. You'd save the applicants having to come in, pull another permit, pay another fee, us tracking that, and I don't believe you would experience any kind of significant revenue loss because I don't believe collecting them.
But you open this door here with the fact that the invoicing from Safe Built and the permits, how is that going to rectify that situation?
I think in Brad, you can tell me right now, they're not sending those 6-month expiration. Correct. So it simplifies, I guess, the number of moving parts. We have a lot of expired 6-month permit applications, I guess, right now, and we haven't been collecting.
And it's not specific to Safe Built either. This is previous inspectors also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Ron?
Yep.
Bill?
Yes.
Billy?
Yep.
Kelly?
Can't help it.
I'm a yes. Motion carries 5-0. Number 2, approval of addendum to law enforcement service agreement concerning animal control.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
So is Kenosha Sheriff aware of this? I mean, is this going to be a surprise to them or?
They're actually advocating for this. I think a number of the communities that they serve have already adopted this. So they had reached out, Nikki, the deputy who's doing the humane officer role, reached out and said, we really would appreciate it if you all would pass this. Again,
I think you can opt out of this in 60 days. It might be worth taking a look at this and see how we do. The advantage is, I think, reducing the exposure of staff to the animals and the animal bites is one plus. When the animals come in, they have to be received. That's a minimum of 2 hours if it's off after hours overtime. And then to feed and water whoever's in custody there, again, on weekends and holidays, et cetera, is overtime. So I think you'll come out pretty close to wash, understanding that the humane officer is going to charge 60 ahead of the memo,
65.89.
for their time. So that's going to be an expense. But I think with savings in overtime and reduced risk of getting bit by them,
So where are the animals going to be kept once they're?
they would go to the Humane Society.
So Safe
Okay.
Harbor still
So where do you have to go? to
Safe
pick up an
Harbor.
Animal.
in Kenosha Safe Harbor by the ice rink.
Where do they stay? Because I read the contract, it says within reasonable time. The Kenosha News put out the article about Sheriff Zoner taking on this animal collection. You know, they had one officer and they're in the midst of training another. In the article, it says that all the equipment has already been purchased. I noticed that was in the contract that we would have to pay for equipment, but I see it's already been paid for. But at the time this article was written, they already had 6 people or 6 communities signed up. So now fast forward another month, 2 months, how many other communities are signed up for this that they only have 2 officers allocated to serve?
I'm not sure how many additional communities signed up, and you raised a good point that if the humane officer isn't available, then we might have to rely on our own.
Especially if they're serving Randall, Paris, Wheatland. I mean, that's 3 of the 6 that I know of. We'd be number 7. So we're pretty much stuck where we are, where we have to hold them until a reasonable time they can get to us.
That's why I think if you went this route, we'd see how it would work in operation. I think if these are dedicated humane officers, there's a finite number of pets or dogs that are loose, but that could be a problem if the individual is on vacation or something like that, then we might find out that it's.
So do we continue to hold them at the public? How does it work now? I'm totally oblivious to this.
I'll let Brad or.
Because I see our officers that we contract, that we pay monthly, collect these stray animals, because I see it on their service costs.
Yes.
So and we already pay for that, so we don't have any extra charge for that because they're already on our clock.
If it all goes as planned, the deputy would pick up the animal, meet staff at the highway facility, and they'd get kennel. And then facility. Food and water. And like I said, that on holidays, they has to come in, we don't water them every day. It's 2 hours overtime.
Well, I get it, but if the officer can't get to you within a reasonable time, we're stuck doing it anyway.
Yeah, well, I think a reasonable time would be probably maximum a day. Be sure on that. But
How many of the animals recovered actually had chips in them? Because it's pretty prevalent now that most animals get chipped.
the chip is right at the Humane Society. We don't have a chip reader.
So we're just holding them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we had a chip reader, when we picked up the animal, there's a feasibility of reacquainting the stray animal with its owner, right?
I don't know if a lot of them are going to have chips, a lot of them won't have collars or tags either.
Well, I would be in favor of trying this. And then I would like to see the metrics, if we can.
We have 90 days, right?
60 days.
60 days.
60 days, Dave?
Let me look contract.
90 days?
It's a 90.
So this is an officer under contract that isn't our normal.
No,
This would be separate and apart, a different officer than the two we hire to service under
but
contract.
he's dedicated,
So they have special treatment.
right?
We would probably have to come out with a truck with the catch poles and all that stuff.
If a dog is found, let's say I found a dog. And I call and say, I've got a dog here, it's a big dog, which I found several before, and I had to call the sheriff's department. So now I'm gonna have to wait until that special person can come get the dog?
In a reasonable amount of time.
Correct, okay.
I think the humane officer is for pickup from our. I don't. We could find out, it's a good question, but I don't think you would would have to sit there with the dog if the humane officer wasn't available. We can find that.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and we have a second, so we need to move this along. All right, Kelly?
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Okay.
Get the metrics.
Yeah, Billy,
Yeah, we'll give it, like I said, it's weird right now, so.
Ron,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, motion carries. Number 3, ordinance 2023.09-72, creating section 330-5A sub 8 of the municipal code regarding slow and awake areas on Silver Lake.
Let's start the discussion of this. So you have in the packet an ordinance amendment that attorney that put together. Recall at the last meeting, we were talking about the location of these buoys and some infirmities in our ordinance. Mainly that it lacked the GPS coordinates of buoys that need to be specified. So on for discussion of potential action here. If you went this route, then what I would anticipate is staff go out and obtain, as in retrieving buoys, obtain the GPS locations of them so that the ordinance could be populated and you could adopt it.
To that point, Mr. Bredlow, I have talked to Paul Snelling. Snelling, sorry. And I've talked to him. I've also talked to one other Lake District Board member. And we've offered to go with the staff, not only mark the GPS locations, but also a line of sight. So we know basically where that buoy should go and then mark it. But we're also going to include the water depth at the same time. So.
Okay.
Sense. If you're okay with this approach, we would think we can pull these probably this month yet, or so we'd be ready in October.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
second,
Hopkins and Gant. Kelly,
Aye.
Billy,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Ron, I'm a yes. Okay. Number 4, upgrades to Village Hall meeting room, microphones, speakers, wiring, etc. Brian, is he still there?
It's your turn.
Wake up.
So as I gave to,
Oh, talk loud. They can't hear you back there.
as I talked to Dave earlier, today, we have not received any quotes from the vendors. We have received one quote for cabling, but it's inadequate as far as the audio component. And I don't understand why I haven't gotten any response from both vendors. Oh, one vendor said 3 weeks and we're on week 2.
Okay, so possibly,
Cables.
do you have anything on, so the microphones as well, like that, it all works together? Is this?
It all works together. We do have some quotes, like I said, for cabling
Yeah, but it's not.
and then coring of concrete, but it's not complete.
Okay,
Apparently this room was never designed for audio and it's very challenging.
Can you explain what we're looking to do, just so people can understand?
So basically what we're looking to do is hopefully increase the capability of you to hear them and them to hear you, then also stream that audio out. But in order to do that, we have to actually zone microphones. Because if you look at the speaker in the back, I have to turn at that angle. So if I turn it any more this way, it'll get feedback.
Okay.
So I have to have microphones that can't hear speakers in different locations, which is, I think, causing another delay in the design.
All righty. And then we're also looking at microphones for the side table too, right?
Correct. Microphones for the side table, microphones for your guys' table, the presenter, and then also some mobile ones for different,
Right.
depending on what you use the room for.
Okay, so we're looking at bringing everything up through the floor so we don't have to have that stuff on there, so.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll have something. All right, well, we'll move that to October for another update then. All right, number 5, Realtor RFP and discussion of properties. Kelly, Billy, what's the update on this one? You guys have one yet, or do you need more time?
More time, please.
You need more time? Okay,
Do we want to pick a Realtor now?
I think we should.
Because we,
Because we read the realtor wanted to go and evaluate the properties.
Yeah, but, okay. What does everybody think?
So how many realtors do you have? Because I got 3 up here.
3. We have 3. That's all of that.
And you're not comfortable with these 3
Oh,
or
no,
one of the 3? To
I
pick?
am, yeah. I am. So they all put their fees for some of them have like a % plus fee. But I asked them all also to include dual agency, which is if they have bring the buyer as well. Kelly and Bill, have you guys gone through this and do you have a recommendation? Or do you need more time on that to come to that determination as well?
I'm leaning towards the Bissett group myself.
I mean, we're only going to do them for properties that we deem that we want to sell, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to
Somebody-
wait until we go through that, or is this somebody you want to bring on board to? You know,
I mean-
they can't do anything until we know what we're gonna be doing,
Right.
All right.
so. Right now,
Because I think a lot of it.
we are going into,
ourselves.
huh?
I think a lot of it we could do ourselves for these
We may,
little tiny lots that you're gonna split between the neighbors.
okay,
Yeah,
maybe
We've
we-
tried that once already, going to neighbors asking, and
yeah,
I only think we've got 2, maybe 3 neighbors that bought neighboring properties, so.
Well, all along they've had some, but I don't know how many lots that are really
well,
a
so,
buildable lot that somebody's really gonna wanna buy.
Well, it doesn't have to be buildable, it
but
just
it's
expands the
buildings
property.
too, if it's,
Yeah.
we don't use the building, that's what I need to know.
Well, yeah, the
You know,
building, well, we
so
were at.
Is it a value to us?
We were at park properties, now we're
No,
at
no,
all
not part-
properties.
no,
No,
it's the
it's
whole
all
list, it's all of them.
But yeah, I see.
If you guys need to, if you need
Big
more
one.
time, then we'll just table it again. Is that what you would like to do?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, can I get a motion to table it then?
I just want to make a comment that
Yeah,
this whole thing with village-owned properties has been
Mhm.
ongoing for over 4 years,
mhm.
okay? And I just don't understand why we can't make a decision. We've already done this 2 or 3 different times, identified the properties. All we're looking to do now is find a realtor, turn it over to them and let them do their magic and sell the properties.
Amen.
Do you have that list, Bill?
I
Because
can,
I got a full list of,
I'll go back and generate the list that has been given to the boards in past administration,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, because I don't have one. Is
okay, well
All right,
then,
then I will get.
you guys are,
that the one that was approved by the Park District?
It's not just park, it's everything.
Everything.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well then, if you want to move forward, then I need a motion on whichever, out of the three. So just for everybody's, knowledge, we have, Lisa Howe from the Bassett Group. We have, Mary Wallace from Coldwell Banker, and then we have somebody. No. Sorry, it's not on the front page. Oh,
It's Alex.
it's Bolton,
Yeah.
Grace.
Bolton Grace Realty. Real estate. So those are the three RFPs that we received. And if you guys have gone through these, I signed this project to you. I just need a motion.
Motion for the Bissett local. That was the area I'm very familiar. Yes.
You want to second her motion?
Kelly made a motion for the Bassett Group.
Okay, motion.
No, the motion was made. Do you want to second it? Because you're on that committee.
Which motion was that?
The Bissett Group, Remax, Illinois and Wisconsin,
And
32.
who made the motion?
Kelly,
I'll second it.
Bill,
I was trying to find her thing in here.
all right, Hopkins,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
I'm going to abstain for these relationships. So motion carries. All right, number 6, discussion and approval regarding next steps in the village administrator recruitment process, including finalist selection and community stakeholder input. All right, so I sent you, you guys all have, and I revised it today. This is going to be a little bit different process than we have probably done in the past, but if the election showed us anything, it is that we need change and people don't want to go with the same old, same old. And that includes process. So what I am proposing is that, and I've laid it all out for you, and I'll just walk everybody through it. Brian, you can bring it up. The dates on the back are not right anymore, but if you can just show the front page there and make it a little bit bigger. So the first, our recruitment period closes on September 25th. I think I've gotten 12 or 13 resumes, some very good ones. And so here is how I am proposing with your approval. The first step, obviously, is to go through, let that recruitment period close. But in the meantime, I would like to put together a community stakeholder panel to help do interviews. As the administrator position is, probably almost the most important in our community as they deal with the public every day. So it is very important that we make the right decision and we have somebody who can work with them. And so I am proposing a 5-member panel with 2 alternates in case one of the chosen or 2 of the chosen 5 cannot make the dates or the times to do these interviews. The interviews would be a list of questions that we go through and we approve, and then they would write a summary and make a recommendation. They cannot actively serve on any village commission or board. They also cannot be an employee, volunteer, vendor, or consultant of the village. And they cannot be related to or have any financial interest with any village board or staff member. Then the second is that Mr. Brettel is going to help us vet these candidates. He has been reviewing resumes and checking references. He's going to do background checks, and then he's going to conduct short recorded Zoom interviews of all candidates. Then I will be receiving those letters of interest, and the closing date on that is going to be end of day 1 week from today. So if there's anyone interested, I need an email sent to me or a letter dropped off at the Village Hall stating your name, your address, and why you would like to be on this panel. Then we will call a special meeting next Tuesday, the 19th, after I choose the members for the board to approve them, and then also to discuss the administrator contract duties and also redoing the ordinance,
That's next Tuesday.
if you guys agree to this. And then trustees Gant, Hopkins, and myself are going to look at those Zoom interviews and all of the vetting information that Mr. Brettel assembles. And we will identify hopefully 4 high-quality candidates to advance to the interview process. And that is where the community stakeholder panel comes in, which I want to say too, community stakeholder can be a resident, it can be a business owner, it can be a property owner. You have to have some sort of stake in this community. So then we will choose those candidates. Then they will go to the interview stage, which would be the community stakeholder panel, who will then, write their summary and recommendation. And then I went back and forth on this one, but we are going to do the department head panel with those 4 individuals only. So they will also have a set of questions that is pre-prepared. And then they will also be writing a summary and making a recommendation. Those 2 recommendations are for consideration only by this board, as the decision is ours. We do not have to take any recommendation. We can go with who we want. So I want to make that clear. And Mr. Brettel will be sitting in with the community stakeholder and with the department head panel to ensure that they stick to the questions that are given to them and that they stay on time. There will be no board members in those meetings. Then after that, we will do a candidate tour with Mr. Brettel and Mr. Faber, and then it will go to formal in-person interviews with the full board. And then we will review the panel recommendations. We will deliberate and make a final decision on which candidate to pursue for appointment. I guess, Brian, you could show the back, but I redid the dates a little bit. So the dates here that I came up with, and this is hopefully to get somebody on board by December 1st, because this is a very long process. Oftentimes they have to give at least a month's notice, sometimes 2. So we're going to hope it's only going to be 30 days. So September 19th, we'll do the special meeting to approve the community stakeholder panel members that I choose. Discuss the administrator contract duties and ordinance. September 28th, we will, Dave will have the interviews and vetting completed of all the candidates. And then hopefully on the 29th, the 3 of us can get together and view those and go through all of the paperwork on the vetting. And then this is where it changes a little bit. So then we're gonna do October 9th. From 12:30 to 1:15, department heads will interview candidate A, then they will go on a tour. Then at 3 o'clock, they will, the community stakeholder panel will interview candidate A. And at 4 o'clock, the board will interview candidate A. We're also gonna do candidate B in between there. So 2 to 2:45 department heads, 3 to 4:15 is the tour. 4:30 to 5:15 community stakeholder panel interview. And then 5:30 to 6:30 is village board interview. And then we're going to have our column board meeting at 6:45. So that's gonna be a long day. I'm gonna try to keep that agenda down to the bare minimum. Then October 10th, we'll do the same thing with candidates C and D, and then at 6:45, we will have our budget workshop. So I apologize if that's not right. And then October 11th, at 2 o'clock, the panel summaries with their recommendations are due to me via email. And at 4 o'clock, we will do our budget workshop number 2. And at 6 o'clock, we will have a board meeting with a closed session for deliberation to choose a candidate and what offer terms we would like. Hopefully we can get that written up and have the offer extended to them the 12th or 13th. And then on the 12th at 6 o'clock, we're going to do our third budget workshop. And then October 20th. So if we get them the offer by the 13th, they have 7 days to respond with their acceptance or denial to me, hopefully acceptance. And then with a starting date, potentially December 1st. So I need to know how everyone feels about this timeline and how you feel about the process. If you think it's a good idea, do you like involving the community? And again, those dates up there, Kelly, are not, I don't know. Eileen gave you the revised one.
I think it's good you involve the community in. I think when you get to these with the community voting on, you rate the person one. This is most like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mhm.
It's just a little better when you go and said that we just choose this one.
Mhm.
If that makes sense to you, it's more of a, this
Yeah.
gives us an idea, more or less gives us an idea.
Mhm.
You have to.
That's
work
what, where the summary comes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we gonna send this announcement out via the email
Yes.
for the community?
Yes,
Participants.
and if you guys approve this, it will go out, this right here will go out via email. We can also put it on our website. And then, you know, as I said, everyone has until next Monday at end of day to email me if they would like to be on the panel, and then we'll schedule if we approve this tonight, we'll schedule the meeting for next Tuesday night to go through that. Does anyone have any comments, suggestions, questions?
I think it's good.
I believe the schedule is in conflict with the already scheduled fire commission hearing on the 10th.
Of October? Well, most of that can happen in the back room. So I'm not worried. Actually, all of it could happen in the back room. Because it's all gonna be,
I won't be available that day.
oh, well, what, yeah, but is yours all day? Okay,
I believe it's a 10. 11:15 to 12.
We got to get it on the calendar because it's not on the calendar yet.
this, or the hearing.
Here.
The hearing's not on the calendar, right? Okay, well, correct. It should be on there. All right. What do you guys think about that process? You like it?
Yes.
Yeah? Good? Okay. Fair. Fair?
You have to be a member of the community.
What?
I like that you have to be a member of the community.
In some aspect, right? You have to be a business owner, a property owner. You could be a renter. You just have to, you know,
How do they choose that?
how? I will.
They say they want to Like for the one that's gonna interview the person? How do they choose that? Like
The panel, who chooses the panel?
the business owner, if it was a business owner interviewing
Uh-huh.
the applicant, how do they choose that person?
How do they choose the applicant? Or what do you,
The business owner that would interview the applicant.
I will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whoever is going to put in a letter of intent wanting to be on this panel needs to explain why they want to be on the panel and what they feel they could bring to the table, right? So if people can't follow the directions and I just get your name, address and phone number, you're not going to get picked. So. Okay. Oh, Mr. Langle.
Okay, one then. October 10th,
Mhm.
did you say you could use the other one?
Yeah, these will all be closed. Right, because these are still, they are not public, right, until the finalists, right? So these will be closed sessions, so there's gonna be nothing, for anyone to see. So we can use the back room. Or we could go to the fire department and use, I'm not worried about that either, so, or Silver Lake.
You would use the community.
Correct. So, any questions from anybody?
Just
No,
one
no.
question. Tuesday, I'm not gonna be here,
Tuesday next week?
but can I phone in?
Yeah, you can phone in. Yeah. Okay, then I will ask for a motion. Well, that somebody else has a question?
What? To reconsider her license? That's coming up.
That's
Okay,
coming
all
up.
right.
Yeah, we're not done yet. All right, so can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the administrative recruitment process.
I'll second it.
Okay, Hopkins, Kelly, all in favor?
All right.
Aye, any opposed? All right, great, thank you very much. Eileen, this new one, I will email it to you, and then if you can get that posted on the website and sent out the email list, that'd be great. All right, so with that, then we are going to move on to the clerk's office, operators licenses. Anais Bueno, Tim Curtin, and Debbie Garcia. Did everybody have a chance to read through?
Yep, I make a motion to deny all three. The first being the application is incomplete. He hasn't filled out the certificate of completion of beverage course or operator's license number. And the other two, because they marked no for any conviction within the state of Wisconsin. And based on the background check, there is significant on the remaining two. Is that? Okay,
So you make a motion to deny all three
correct.
as stated. I second that. All in, or we'll just do a roll call. Kelly?
Did I miss something on Tim Curtin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at the application itself.
Well, the background check
Yeah,
really.
but it's marked no for any conviction.
And he has numerous.
Yep,
Yes.
same with the second one.
Yeah. All right, sorry, Kelly. What's your vote?
Aye.
Okay, Ron?
Yes.
Billy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries. Operator license for reconsideration, Laura Berger. I understand you're here. All right, you want to come up and just say a few words? That'd be great.
I wasn't sure why it wasn't approved the first time. I only have a couple of misdemeanors on my record. More than nothing in the past prior 10 to 12 years before that.
But based on the significant background check, the others were read in, meaning they were significant.
I'm not charged with anything other than 3 misdemeanors.
But the others were read into the conviction.
Which we read out.
When you go out to,
Because it was part of the plea deal, but
correct,
right.
but they read into that conviction part of the plea deal, the other charges. Rich, can you explain that a little bit, how they read into?
Well, I wasn't convicted, so.
Yeah, but remember that the qualification of the statute is, one reason for this qualification is visual law. offender. So you've got some convictions out there. But also, writing charges, which those are convictions, you're correct. But for, at least for sentencing purposes, the court, the agreement was the court to consider those. Which means apparently from this record that there's some factual basis for those claims. And the board had considered those as part of its evaluation of the vote for the license.
I haven't had any trouble when you said 24 years prior to that day. This for years, healthcare for years. I hold my asset license for Illinois. I don't know if you guys can see it, but they said I wasn't charged with it. That's how I was serving the friends. It shows if you look up my record, I have 3 misdemeanors, 2 A and a B.
But I think you're missing the point of what Mr. Schultze is telling you. That the charges themselves were severe enough to where they were read, and you weren't dismissed of them. They were read into the other charges.
When I looked at the file, it says that they were dismissed.
No, I'm gonna go to the last one.
The whole purpose of them removing the authority was to hand over my gun rights.
All right, so I'm looking at 2021, a conviction. September 7th, 2021.
Okay.
Okay,
Misdemeanor.
I don't disagree. But what I'm trying to tell you is they read into those charges, the others that were lowered from felonies to misdemeanors. So help us understand why we should give you an operator license when you have such charges, because you brought this up, intentionally point a firearm at a person, domestic abuse, use of a firearm, and intentionally pointing a firearm at a
The
person.
gentleman was trying to punch out my car window. We walked inside of it. I had a license to carry and was protecting myself. I did not point it at him. I held it in my hand and told him if he broke my window, I would shoot him. He was coming after me physically.
Is there anyone else that would help us to understand that on
My
your,
best friend was on the phone with me the entire time.
but they're not here
She has
today.
children. No, she has children. She can't be here. She also works at the same bar that I've been working at. Don't have a violent history. Like I said, I worked in the hospice for 5 years when I lived in Indiana. I have no other prior thing for 10+ years. I'm 40 years old. I work, I go home. I have a dog. That's all I do. Then I hold my valid basket license, which I've obtained in the last year and a half.
Where do you work in Illinois?
I'm not working currently in Illinois.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my license because I've been working at the vendors in Silver Lake. Would like to continue with it there.
I have to say, when I saw this come up for, another attempt, I was sort of saddened I didn't see any letters of references.
I asked 2 other people. I asked my old boss, he actually owns the Dairy Queen in Silver Lake as well, Sonny Patel. I worked with him for the past year, 6 days a week, 3+ hours a week. I asked him, he said he had sent it in to Kristen Stone. So I've been emailing, and then she requested it on a Word document, and he said that he would resend it to her. So I'm not quite sure where that letter went.
Kristen Stone.
Yeah, she.
You're saying that,
What's that?
you're saying that he sent a letter?
Yeah, he said he was going to, and then he had done so. But I had messaged him asking after she said she hadn't received it, and he said that he would resend it later.
Okay, so she may not have received it.
She may not have. But he said he sent it twice.
There's multiple dates in here. 9/7/21. There's also dates in here for February 28th, 21.
Trying to remember, it's been too long.
Armed robbery.
I'm not charged with that.
I'm reading,
They said that I took stuff from his home and they
Charge
searched my
issued.
vehicle and I was not charged because I had no personal property of his.
And it wasn't armed. It never had my firearm on me. It was in my car, in my purse the entire time.
Criminal damage to property,
What's that?
criminal damage to property.
It was during the fight that we had. He had stolen money from me. I had just moved back from Indiana. Was trying to get my footing, staying with multiple different people, trying to figure out where to live, where to work, so I had no choice but to sell my home. So it was, it's a really tough time and he stole money from me. And
So Laura, are these charges in February and September all from the same gentleman? Or same person?
I'm not sure what is all on there, because I don't know what September and February would.
I'm just reading what's on your background check.
What does it say though?
You know, what I would like, I would like if we could give her a copy of this, and then I would like if you can come back next week on Tuesday night with your letters of references, with Mark in tow, who will
I know
vouch for
he's
you.
watching live right now. He's in the picture that he was.
Well, he needs to come here and speak on your behalf, I think. And then you can explain, you know, this better, so then you'll understand.
You're looking at, because I've only been in trouble once since I went back.
So the first one, and I don't disagree that prior to February of 2021, there wasn't anything on there for a number of years, okay? And we don't go back and look at everything that's on there. As a matter of fact, I think we stick 5 to 7 years or something like that we've agreed to.
It was just a bad night and a bad situation. He had stolen money from me.
But the question I have for you is there's 2 different dates with almost 6 months in between. February 26th,
Would have been the end of February when anything happened.
okay. And then you have it again in, what did I say it was, September 7th? September 13th, I'm sorry. September 7th, no, that is correct. So there's 2 sets of charges in here.
But I don't have.
I think they're the same,
I don't
eh?
understand.
Are they the same?
No, because look at the dates.
Just the end of February when it all happened. Or it was time consuming, so I took the plea deal. I just wanted it to be over with.
All right,
There should be nothing else on there.
how about if we give you a copy of this? You can get it from the clerk's office. And then get with Mark. And go from there, help us to understand. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Can you come back next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Laura?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 3, approval of vouchers from August 15th, 2023 through September 11th, 2023 in the amount of $926,722.30 as presented. Look this up.
Yeah, I gave it a once over already.
Did you?
Yep. Nothing jumps out except all these refunds, bond refunds. Brad, help me understand again, what are bond refunds?
The roads.
When they come in the full building permit, they renew mostly a performance bond. Old bond, if we're gonna hook up to sewer bond. When ladder was hooked up, it was approved. That bond is refunded.
Okay,
Same thing with the street, if they damage the street while putting in the sewer or bringing in construction equipment, we can draw off that bond. Otherwise, once that's refunded.
Yeah.
Performance bond is more for the building itself or final grade. But they're not gonna cover any drainage issues with neighbors.
okay.
So I see we bought beds, so the fire department. Okay.
Sorry, what was it?
12 years old.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the financials.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Number 4, approval of minutes for August 14th, August 15th, and August 29th of 2023. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
Yep.
Look them over.
Make a motion to approve as written.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Phil Hopkins, do I have a second? Oh, Kelly did. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Any future agenda requests? No? All right, then we're gonna go to, if there's any public comments from anyone on anything. Come now or forever hold your peace. No? All right, good. Okay, must be doing something right. Okay, trustee comments, Billy.
I think it's a good idea. We involved residents in with this for the administrator, because he represents all of us, so I think it's a good idea. I think also when we get our track of what fire equipment we got, the ages and all this, the same with our town trucks, our village trucks. We get that all online, it'd be a little easy for everybody to understand what's going on.
Perfect. Bill?
I delivered the key fob to the Silver Lake Community
Yeah.
Center to the Kim Taylor, the administrator over at Riverview.
Uh-huh.
They actually walked all the kids up to the facility, 2-block walk. They had the older kids hold the hands of the kindergartens, first, second, and third graders, and kept them to the side of the road. One question did come up, and it was a good one because I hadn't thought about it. If the administrator happens to be out of touch,
Yeah.
what should they do if they need the use of the facility? Do they come here?
Well, that would be an emergency situation, yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Isn't the fob kept
Yeah, that's what I was
in the
thinking.
building?
It is kept in the building, but I don't know what control they have over it. Because I know the administrator was the only one who was gonna have access.
Do they only have,
Lockbox.
oh, true. Well,
What's that?
lockbox, do we feel, I don't know if
The
I feel
lockbox
comfortable
or
with that, because you
not?
can break them, They're
The
easy to break.
Knox is, no,
I
that's,
get involved in conversations with the administrator, whether they
Yeah.
develop a football program, which is commonplace in schools. Burden fee. Annual and pay and all that. Either generally with that, I can talk to them.
why don't you talk to her? Because this is, we're using it as a unification center. So instead of crossing the tracks to the Baptist church, they're going up to and they were gonna use the fire department as an overflow if needed. Okay, so if you wanna, her name is Kim Taylor.
Ronnie?
Yeah, I attended a little ceremony they had for the Midwest Trail System that's involved with Henry County, Kenosha County. It was pretty interesting. Thielens donating like 8 miles of land to put this trail through on some of their property. It was all going to tie together, and it was pretty interesting with the communities coming together on that. Twin Lakes was involved in it, so.
Great. Kelly?
Nothing at this time.
No? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?